I would like to call the August 18th, 2026 City Council meeting to order.
Tonight, we are being led in prayer by Jamie Blankenship, pastor at Brush Creek Baptist Church. If you could please join us as he leads us in prayer, I'd appreciate that.
Madam Mayor, let's bow our heads. God, we just come before you, thankful for the opportunity to be here this evening. And God, I just pray for all the leaders and the distinguished guests in this room that they'd be blessed with discernment and wisdom tonight, and just to be able to communicate, but lead well and make the right decisions that are best for this community and for our citizens. And God, we thank you for that. And we just ask your blessing upon this whole community and every family that's represented here. It's in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Ms. Blankenship, thank you so much, sir. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight we have a little bit of a change. We have Ms. Luann Jennison, our deputy clerk, that's going to be taking Ms. Artemani's spot tonight, as Ms. Artemani is not able to be here. And we have Maddie, the other deputy clerk, that is taking care of the media. Ms. Jennison, would you please do the roll call?
Craig.
Here.
Mick. Here. Daniel.
Here.
Larry.
Here.
Mike.
Here.
And Tim.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, next, approval of, I'm seeking approval for the city council minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a first and second.
Second.
Danny,
That's from the last minutes or the agenda tonight?
Last minutes.
last
Okay.
minutes.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Craig.
Here.
Mick.
Yes.
Danny.
Yes.
Larry.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
And Tim.
Yes.
Okay, I am seeking approval of tonight's agenda.
May I ask one question before? Since our department reports are in written form, do we need to move to accept those, or are we just accepting them as
Part of the
they're
minutes,
agenda?
yes,
And-
in the agenda,
okay,
correct.
That's fine.
If anyone wants it different, just let me know.
No,
and we
I'm
can.
fine. It's
Okay, thank you, sir.
above.
I'm seeking approval of the agenda, including the department minutes, or the department reports, excuse me.
I do have some questions, but I feel like without Miss Artemani here, it might be all on deaf ears, I guess.
Correct.
So I guess I just email her or something.
Yes.
Okay.
Need a motion.
We'll need, yes, we'll need a.
A motion to approve the minute, or agenda, sorry.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Craig.
Yes.
Mick.
Yes.
Danny.
I'm going to abstain.
Larry.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
And Tim.
Yes.
Okay, old business, so there is none. We'll move on to public comments on anything on the agenda, on tonight's agenda. May step to the podium, name and address, please.
Good afternoon. Thank you for public comment. Mark Calcagney, 12642 Arbor Acres Road. And again, thank you for allowing public comment. I noticed the agenda says waste management expansion. It's not a current expansion, but it's an ADEQ air permit to raise the limits of the chemicals in the air that are currently in the review stage, which I don't understand why we'd want to raise the limits. The neighbors, and my hope is that Tontitown would create a resolution opposing the air permit and reading this resolution at the public hearing at Tontitown St. Joseph Church on August 25th. Waste Management does not deserve an air permit. Due to 10 fires at Waste Management Echo Vista in the last 9 years, numerous air complaints from citizens, neighbors getting headaches, nausea, and eye irritation from gas and odors, neighbors having to go to the hospital emergency room due to hazardous vapors, breathing issues. The Arkansas National Guard 2 air tests showed harmful air issues in their test. The ADQ and CTE 2 air tests showed acrolein 4,900% over the EPA regional screening level, and benzene at 209% over EPA regional screening levels. Both are carcinogens. The last ADQ air test showed acrolein, which is a highly toxic and human carcinogen. We've had numerous cases of cancer around this landfill, which is not coincidental. The 2020 waste management leachate test showed high levels of chemical oxygen demand, or COD, at 2,278 milligrams per liter, which is 10 times higher than a wastewater treatment plant should receive. And biochemical oxygen demand, or BOD, measured at 845 milligrams per liter, or 4 times the standard that the wastewater treatment plant should take. This causes oxygen in the water to be gone and causes marine life issues. Waste management has known this for 6 years and has done nothing to correct this. Poor Nina Brown, poor Tammy Graham, Deborah Newman, and others that live around this lift station have had to suffer with the dangerous air. Please do the right thing for health and safety, because this business is in the city of Tontitown, and it is your responsibility to keep your constituents and citizens safe and healthy. Please create a resolution opposing the ADEQ air permit and reading it at the public hearing on August 25th. Health and safety should be one of the top priorities of this council. Thank you.
Patty, get ready.
Bobby Russell, 1497 Arbreakers Avenue. Tonight, Patty has a short little video that she can. Mayor, point of our public comments, I don't believe it's just that. It's not showing text. See anywhere you signed in July that allows video. Comments are just that. It's comments from the public, not videos.
Allow it or not?
What's the video?
It's concerning the
Video?
no, sir, it's from,
Excuse me, but it also says that the public comments are made by individuals. I think showing a video is a public comment from.
So these are all accurate statements. What I would recommend is finish with the public comment period, and if the council wants to watch a video, however long it is, put a motion in the second and vote on it. But I'd finish the true public comment.
Do we know how long the video is? Okay. Thank you, guys. I don't have a problem watching the video. Understand Mr. Wagner concerns. Solution to that.
anyone else?
Only comment to that.
Hey,
I'll
Mayor,
keep
may I
comments to
briefly be
myself.
heard? May I briefly be heard? There's a sign-in sheet, I believe, that all public commentators are supposed to sign before they sign up. It's in the rules. Could we just have people sign that? Could you force that and make that announcement? Thank you.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Then just please.
Tammy
make sure-
Graham, 1984 South Penalto Road. The evening of August 10th, 2026, I received a text from my neighbor, Nina Brown, stating, "I can't smell leaving." Pump station was spewing all the familiar ammonia odors again. She drove to the fire department. They found her to be severely hypertensive and recommended she go to the ER. She'd been through this many times before. She elected to go to her mother's home instead, where she would be safe from the toxic odors. Her symptoms eventually resolved. She returned home the next day. Ms. Brown has been reporting this problem to you for several years now. The irony is you've had the authority to address the problem with waste management and the lift station since at least 2020. According to your own ordinances, I am left to conclude. 1, you were ignorant of the very laws you were sworn to uphold. 2, you were aware you had the authority, but you chose to do nothing, as the fight to shut down waste management was far more glorious than addressing the desperate pleas of one lone citizen. May 2022, Mr. Clark received correspondence from Waste Management describing effluent pretreatment design, which would manage the leachate flow to the NACA treatment facility. That was left to die on the vine, secondary to concerns put forth by NACA. And were you aware of this, and what did you do? Last year, I sat in the audience as you were entertained by the Carbon Chicken Project, a group that made soil amendments out of chicken litter. It appeared to me you swallowed all you were fed. You allowed an unknown band of upstarts with no specialized expertise to carry out their research at our expense. I understand now the line from waste management to the lift station is clogged, and there are problems needing repair, but rather than respond to the immediate issues which you have the authority to fix, you're once again chasing your holy grail, your grand crusade against waste management. You can't even maintain a sewer line, much less follow your own ordinances. Should your negligence result in a permanent injury or even death, you will not have a leg to stand on, and the media won't be sympathetic. At this point, I am left to think it was never about the citizen. Had it been, the lift station issue would have been resolved and Miss Brown would not be leaving her home in the middle of the night. It is about the attention and prestige that comes from mugging in front of a news camera. When you see the camera, you forget about us. Take the plank out of your own eye before trying to remove the speck from someone else's. Work with waste management and fix the lift station leachate problem. Make that a priority. Or go home. Now watch your video, produced by your news station.
Anyone else?
Mayor Russell and members of the City Council, thank you for this opportunity. Nina Brown, 1851 South Penalto Road. I live across the street from the lift station. The lift station was not there years ago when we got the property. It wasn't even thought of at that point. For the past 4 or 5 years, I and other neighbors in Tontitown and other residents have experienced reoccurring odors, vapors, something associated with the lift, the leachate. Because the lift is in the valley, the wind changes significantly. I've got 2 flags of windsock, and you can see 3 different directions sometimes. It swirls and whirls and does all kinds of things. That makes this exposure difficult to predict and difficult for residents to document. I've experienced another critical exposure this past Monday. I realized what was happening and left. I've had to leave my home numerous times. I believe we deserve a reliable way to detect, monitor, document this some sort of a way for this potential, I'm going to call it a chemical exposure. I don't know what else to call it. We must have a plan that addresses this. Now, monitoring the source of the problems, somehow, some way, I think it was brought before the council once about doing a monitoring system. Perhaps this is what we need to think about. I don't know. We don't even know what we're working with. And we know the leachate is full of chemicals, and once it mixes and it gets exposed to the air, we haven't a clue what to test for or what we're breathing. I request at least some routine maintenance of our equipment and lines and be followed up at all times. A better way to inspect it. Perhaps I don't understand it all, but I don't feel like we're getting a true monitoring and follow-up. We need a clear plan for Tontitown and waste management, making it very clear that they need to pre-treat this leachate and help us if they can. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Nina. Anyone else? Okay. Council, do we want to go ahead with the video or no? Need somebody to make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we watch the video.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Craig,
Yes.
Mick,
No.
Danny,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Mike,
No. No.
and Tim.
Yes.
Okay, it passes.
Motion
Matt,
passes.
Maddie, would you go ahead and play the video, please?
A new report released by the Arkansas Department of Energy and Environment shows 5 potentially toxic chemicals were discovered in the air surrounding Tontitown's Eco-Vista landfill, exceeding certain EPA levels. Our Perry Elliott Durrani examined the reports and has more.
This data has been a long time coming. In 2022, we released an investigation that revealed the Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality, or ADEE, was choosing not to conduct chemical air quality tests after citizens complained the landfill's fumes were making them sick. They told us those tests were too expensive. But after the report and continued complaints from Tontitown's mayor, the Arkansas National Guard conducted their own tests. And then in February of 2024, so did ADEE through the independent company CTEH. Now, this company found 2 toxins in the air nearby, acrolein and benzene. And now, in the most comprehensive study yet, this same company says 3 days of testing in late April revealed these chemicals were still around and that they found several others. After analyzing 10 sites immediately surrounding Eco-Vista landfill and 4 a bit further away, those marked here, you can see CTEH says its researchers found these 5 toxic chemicals in the air at notable levels: acrolein, benzene, carbon tetrachloride, chloroform, naphthalene. And to give us a sense for how concentrated they were, the company used a metric called a regional screening level. EPA says this level is designed to give communities a sense of when risks grow to a point that they may warrant a closer look. According to CTEH, the amount of acrolein researchers found at one spot was 4,900% over this threshold. Benzene was 209% over this same threshold. And while these were the highest concentrations found, all 14 analysis sites around the landfill reported levels above this EPA threshold for these 2 chemicals. Now, the other 2 chemicals we mentioned were discovered more sparingly, but also exceeded this level on at least 1 occasion. Now, we should note, this data does not prove the Eco-Vista landfill is the source of the chemicals found in the air around it, but community that's long asked for official testing to learn whether there are toxins in the air. This report may be just what they needed to move forward. Reporting in studio, Perry Elliott Durrani, KNWA, Northwest Arkansas News.
Thank you, Maddie. Was there anyone online? All right, moving on. New business. A discussion and approval on resolution updated the Tontitown Employee Handbook, sponsored by Mr. Wishkowiak.
Thank you, Mayor, for bringing this to our attention, and I'm glad to sponsor this for you. This is pretty cut and dried, straightforward. I'm sure council's had an opportunity to look through the resolution. There are really only a couple of red line and highlighted areas that make changes. The 5.1.4 vacation accrual, it just tightens up the language. There's no reduction in the vacation accrual. 5.4.1 on sick leave, the major changes for police and fire are leave accrual begins after 30 days of employment and not 1 year. So I would make a motion that council approve this resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I will second.
Roll call.
Craig,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Danny,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tim.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Go on to B, a discussion and approval of an ordinance to establish the Director of Human Resources position. Mr. Fontes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. This being a ordinance, Mr. Farrar, do you need to read the title?
Sure. Make sure I'm reading the right one. There's actually 2 ordinances on this one. Yeah, okay. I'm going to read the one that's a little longer that is redlined. An ordinance establishing the Department of Human Resources, creating the position of Director of Human Resources as a municipal department head, establishing, appointing, reporting, qualification, authority, and responsibility requirements, declaring an emergency, and for other purposes.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, this ordinance just establishes the Director of Human Resource and establishes it as a department head that directs directly to the mayor. And you'll see it listed in this ordinance. The essential duties are to administer the city's duly adopted personnel policies and procedures consistently across all departments, coordinate authorized job posting, recruitment, application reviews, interviews, reference checks, selection of documentation, an onboarding procedure, and separation procedures, among other things. There's quite a bit of things in this thing. If you didn't read through it, I'd welcome you to do that. But this just pretty much establishes that role here in City Hall and makes it a direct report to the mayor. And with that, I'd make the motion that we pass this.
Second it.
Okay, so we'll do the discussion. We're doing this a little bit different tonight. We'll start with Mr. Wishkowiak. You have your 5 minutes.
I didn't see anything. Sorry, I didn't see anything too controversial in here at all. I think it sets us up for, like many of the proposed ordinances here tonight, and the forthcoming organizational chart that we will have to go with it. I think this strengthens the position of the city for future growth. And so I don't see any reason not to pass this.
You still have 4 minutes left. Are you wanting to yield those?
Yield the rest of my time.
Mr. Burris, you have 5 minutes.
I've asked some of these concerns here and there, but one of my concerns is, I don't know that it's a concern, but question all the same, is if we do establish the position of the Director of Human Resources, do we have somebody currently that qualifies for that position? Or do we need to start searching for somebody for that position, or both? And then I know Human Resources used to be a department head, it's no longer a department head. So I just want to hear a little more. I've read through it and I think I agree, but those are just things that are knocking about in my brain. Why is it important that HR position, director position, is a department head? And I'll yield my time. Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Artemani.
And my only concern, question, whatever you may want to call it, as of right now, we have one person for HR. So who are they going to be a department over? I know that perhaps in the future, they may have an assistant HR person, but right now you're going to have one person for HR. I'm kind of quizzical about, making them a department head when they are obviously the only person that I may not be stating that quite correctly, but they're the only person that's involved in HR, so I guess they are the head. That's all I've got a question on, I guess.
Okay. Ms. Montez?
Thank you,
your
Madam
5
Mayor.
minutes. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Didn't,
Yeah,
Mr.
I
Armani?
yield.
Okay. Sorry.
Thank you.
Used to this new.
I'll just do a quick recap on Mr. Burris's comment.
Thank you.
In the position paper, second page, under professional development, well, let me back up. There's a minimum qualifications on the first page on the back that goes over high school diploma or equivalent, at least 5 years of progressively responsible experience in human resource, personnel administration, benefit administration, payroll coordination, public administration, business administration, employee supervision, or substantial related field. Demonstrated ability to maintain confidential record and administer written policies, written knowledge of applicable federal, state, local employment requirements, and sound public sector practices, effective written, verbal, organizational, analytical, and interpersonal skills, proficiency with standard office record keeping, reporting, and human resource technology. Then there's a second or next paragraph is preferred qualifications. That's basically a college degree, either associates or bachelor's, municipal government, public sector employment experience, supervisory or department level administration experience, and then there's some acronyms there for some more qualifications that and credentials you can get. The next paragraph, though, is the part that I think will kind of cover what you're asking, is if we don't have somebody that has those minimum and those preferred qualifications. It says an appointed director who does not possess the recognized professional human sources credentials shall comply with the professional development requirements established by the ordinance creating this position, or the position, including preparation of a written development plan and reasonable progress towards the appropriate credential, subject to budgetary appropriations and continued eligibility. So I think that clause kind of helps, should we not have somebody that's qualified in that position, where we make a game plan to get those qualifications accomplished and keep that seat remain, that position intact. To Mr. Artemani's point, I would just say that this department head is not merely over anybody, yet is a direct report to the mayor rather than being funneled into, many channels. It goes right to the mayor rather than having to go to, at this point, it goes community development director and then to the mayor. It just kind of simplifies it and shoots it to where it's a direct report to the mayor quickly, rather than having subordinates underneath that umbrella. And I will yield my 2 minutes.
Okay, Mr. Graves.
It seems needed. I yield.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes, I would remind my peers that when we attempted to create department heads, there is established department heads that cities of the first class traditionally use across the state, to the point of do we have a qualified employee? To add to what Mr. Montez says, the employee currently performing human resources may continue to perform lawfully assigned duties during a transition period. However, I need not remind anybody that we're going to have a new mayor here in about, I don't know, a few months. And at that point, it's clear that the mayor has the authority to appoint. However, we have a person that has functioned in this role as a report to someone rather than the mayor. And in fact, I think there was a position paper that our city attorney has provided all of us that one of the key issues to establishing department heads is that they have the appealable rights, which are outlined in Arkansas law. To Mr. Artemani's point, why do we need a department head? Well, at this point, who else does HR work other than a centralized point? In this case, we have to have an individual. Consequently, we do have a department. Whether or not it has any other people other than the department head itself, no. But in fact, a department head does have the rights to report and appeal any unjust actions by whoever might deem to fire, in this case, the mayor, which we've had a little history with that. But this ordinance, as I read it, that Mr. Montez has presented for consideration, is it should make clear and does make clear the establish a direct report to mayor does not remove the council from personal government. The council retains authority over creation and funding of positions, annual budgets, compensation schedules, benefits, personnel policies, organization structures. Therefore, the director should be required to provide reports, information to the council when requested, and participate in the budgetary processes and other items such as benefits, trainings, claims, and otherwise. A clear, lawful reporting relationship is necessary for any city. Consistent administration of personnel policies across all departments, improved communications and preservation of employment records are a necessity. Better coordination with payroll, accounting, legal counsel, and insurance providers. A reliable workforce and personnel cost information during a budget preparation. Certainly, I believe the last budget could have benefited from some of those items. A defined professional development path for the person. It's pretty hard to say, I want you to be my HR department and be in that position for a couple of years and not ever been provided with one opportunity to do training. Therefore, I think this ordinance clears that up. Just because someone's in a position that we may or may not argue that is qualified to do the job, I think everyone should be given a chance to look at the facts. And so I would therefore be a yes vote on this. I yield.
Okay. The only thing that I have on this is why wouldn't this be consistent, this job duties, be consistent with all of the other job descriptions that's in here? Because they're not, they should be the same. It seems to me that it will make things more confusing whenever they're all different. And I would think that it needs to have a little bit more eyes on it and look at it a little further. Also, the last three things that Mr. Wagner had mentioned in there has been done by Pat Penalto, the financial person. And yes, training was offered. And I yield the rest of my time. We'll start over with Mr. Wishkowiak.
Yes, thank you. I just want to follow up as far as the position being directly responsible or having direct reports, or whether it's one person or whatever. The position summary clearly states that serves as the municipal department head responsible for administering and coordinating city's personnel management function. The city has 70 some odd employees, if I'm not mistaken. So although it may not be direct reports to the HR director, the functions that the HR department has are vitally important. Coordinating recruitment, onboarding, benefits, training, employee relations, workplace compliance, job descriptions, classification review, risk management activities, personnel-related budget information, coordinating authorized job postings, recruitment, applicant reviews, interviews, reference checks, select documentation, onboarding, separation procedures. I'll skip down. It coordinates benefit enrollment, leave administration, workers' compensation, unemployment claims, workplace incident reporting, return to work procedures. So this is a pretty substantial list of responsibilities. So regardless of whether the person has any employees working under him or her, I think the department creation is a necessity. I yield.
Hey, Mr. Burris.
I yield my time. Thank you.
Mr. Artemani.
I just have one question as far as the opportunities to go and get schooling, classes, whatever the case may be. Is this going to be mandatory that they do that as the opportunities arise, or is it going to be something that is up to the individual?
Are you addressing that question?
I'm just curious. Okay.
Going down the line.
That would be my, are we going to make it mandatory? You know,
I think it's in there is that they have to get
I-
certain HR qualifications over a certain period of time. I think it's listed in there.
it's open discussion.
Okay.
Unless
Did you want to yield
overlooked
your
something.
All right,
time?
you the rest of my time, yes.
Okay, Mr. Montez.
I don't have anything more else to add in there, but I would say to Larry's question that yes, I think within that professional development, it talks about having a written development plan and reasonable progress towards the appropriate credentials, subject to budgetary appropriation, meaning that there is a department where we appropriate funds to send this person to go get, those credentials. I think that makes it mandatory, subject to those budgetary appropriations and continued eligibility. But I'll use my time.
Mr. Graves.
I have nothing else, my time.
Mr. Wagner.
To draw a fine point on this, the city already requires human resource functions to be performed. I think to Mr. Artemani's question, certainly there's training materials. The water department obtains license through accredited training processes. The municipal league has a number of methods, and there's also third-party training that could be involved, and again, could be budgeted for when we come up to this upcoming budget. The question is whether these functions would continue under an informal and in potentially ambiguous structure, or be placed with a clearly defined department led by an accountable department head. Creating the Department of Human Resources and the position of the Director of Human Resources with a direct reporting relationship to the mayor and preserved council authority provides the more responsible and durable structure. It establishes professional expectations without prejudging the appointment of any individual and gives the city a workable path from its present staffing circumstances towards a competent and properly organized human resources function. I yield.
Okay. All right, I don't have anything further. I do, yes, I do. I just wanted to let everyone know that there have been lots of classes that can be taken. I know that there have been some classes that have already been taken, but there's going to have to be extensive testing and be able to pass the test in order to hold this position in my. So we are here. We'll start with roll call.
Craig,
Yes.
Mick,
Yes.
Danny,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and Tim.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And passes.
Moving on, we'll go to C, a discussion and approval of a resolution opposing the waste management expansion. Mr. Burris.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. These issues at Waste Management Eco Vista, they predate my time on this council, certainly. And in my 6 years here on the council, this is overwhelmingly the most consistent and common complaint that I get from citizens. Citizens have repeatedly complained about headaches, nausea, difficulty breathing, burning eyes, heart palpitations, high blood pressure, things that they don't have in other areas. Numerous news stories have highlighted these air quality concerns. We just saw one of them. I'm glad that we got to see it. Thank you for allowing that. And these air tests that were mentioned in that story, and we already know about, show that acrolein and benzene are in the air. There were other really dangerous chemicals in the air, but I want to point out these two very quickly. The Environmental Protection Agency has what they call regional screening levels. Those regional screening levels are per the region, right? So in some areas of the country, they might be higher or lower. But here in the region around the landfill, acrolein in our air near Ecovista landfill is at 4,900% higher than the Environmental Protection Agency's regional screening levels. Benzene in the air are at 209% higher than those same regional screening levels. These are highly toxic chemicals. They are carcinogenic. In fact, in addition to the other complaints that we've had, there are cancer clusters around the Ecovista landfill. They may not be related. I fully understand that. But there are a lot of things that seem to point back to the Ecovista landfill. We have toxic chemicals. We have acrolein and benzene at crazy levels. And we have people who are getting cancer. We have people who are getting Parkinson's. We have people who are having a lot of problems. So holding a company accountable, or holding anybody accountable for that matter, doesn't mean that we're unwilling to work with a company. We are not at all unwilling to work with Waste Management. I think we should work with Waste Management, just like I think they should work with us. Luckily, fortunately, recently, we seem to be going in a good direction with them, working on leachate. I think that's wonderful. But we need to show that not only are we serious about working with a company who happens to be here in town, but that we're listening to all parties. We listen to Waste Management. We do hear people come in, and often they're really upset. And I will be the first to tell you that of those of us that are here, I live closest to the landfill than any of the other council members, not the mayor. And I experienced some of these things myself. But even in the midst of that, I have to tell you, there are times when people come up here and I go like, wow, I don't know how to respond to that. I don't know what to say about that. When we're trying to help and you're angry, I understand, but I don't know how to help. What I'm trying to do is listen. What we're trying to do, hopefully, is listen. So we've got this air quality permit that's coming up. I look back through my notes. I've got notes from 3 years ago that say this thing is coming up sometime between now and 2029. Well, it's here. It's now. And next Tuesday, right across the street, there is a public comment period. If you have concerns about this, please come over here and speak. ADEQ will have people here to speak. But these problems that we've had aren't just amongst the citizens. ADEQ themselves, they've had people come up and swoon in the parking lot as they've gotten out to go visit the landfill. This isn't just isolated to the people that live around us, but there are people who live around it that are having a hard time. We need to listen. We have recently made some conciliatory actions toward Waste Management. I hope they understand we are willing to work with them. But I think we also need to demonstrate a willingness to listen to our people. We are fiduciaries of the citizens of Tontitown. A fiduciary, by definition, means that we are putting the best interest of those people above everything else. As fiduciaries, we have to do what's right for the people who live here. So I think we can demonstrate our willingness to listen to our citizens, and we can also let ADEQ know we have major concerns, especially as has been pointed out earlier, some of these air quality levels are going down, meaning that they don't have to be as stringent, and some are going up. There are these weird changes. So I think it's important that we as a council do what we have done in the past. We have said in the past unanimously as a council that we didn't want them here. That's not even what this resolution is saying. What this resolution is saying is, hey, listen, you need to be really careful about this air quality permit. And as of right now, I don't think they're in a position where they should get an air quality permit. And I hope those of you on the council will show that you are indeed fiduciaries of the people, and that you are listening, and you're willing to work with them and Waste Management, and that you'll join me in voting yes on this resolution. Thank you.
Looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Wait a minute.
Now we have discussion. We'll start with Mr. Wagner.
Okay. You starting with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'd like to start with a few prudent questions before opposing Ecovista's landfill permit. First of all, to correct the counselor who introduced this ordinance. He says all this happened before he got here. Well, I believe Mr. Burris became a council member on October of 2020. One leachate pre-treatment process was provided by Waste Management and approved by ADEQ in April of 2022, some 2 years after that, and the council has been identified as the control authority for sewer and this situation since 2015. My position is not pro-waste management or anti-waste management. My involvement with this issue goes back more than 20 years. I became a Tontitown resident in 2004. An annexation which brought the landfill into the city was welcomed, as a matter of fact, encouraged by this city council that precedes us. I mentioned this for one history reason. I've never viewed the issue as simply being waste management or against it. The question should be, what's prudent for Tontitown? What protects our citizens? As I see it, the council's got 4 possible approaches. Ask ADEQ to investigate specific air quality concerns. Explain how those proposed permit addresses them. Second, we can request stronger monitoring, testing, and record keeping. I can support the third one as well, which is to object to specific provisions of the draft. I'm hearing nothing more than an all-out no, no, no. I can only support these 3, but the fourth approach is that we are doing exactly that. No, unequivocally, statement of opposition. Before I vote, I take the position on behalf of the city. I believe we should be able to identify the provision and be corrected through stronger monitoring. I cannot presently identify such a provision. I assume all the council members have read the permit application and the 15 items proposed as changes. 11 of these generally strengthen monitoring, enforcing, source accountability, and operating controls. They include additional hazardous air pollution testing, sulfur testing, additional permitting sources, plant-wide hazardous air pollutant limits. I've attached here in this writing, and would like for it to be put on the city web, an appendix that identifies the enhanced controls of greater. This does not mean the permit's perfect. If the monitoring should be stronger, let's ask for it. If an emissions assumption is questionable, let's challenge it. If odors can be tied to a particular pollutant, let's insist they did. We had one laid at our steps in 2022 and done nothing about it. But this is very difficult from deciding beforehand the entire permit should be denied. I also believe consistency matters. Several years ago, it's already been identified that ammonia, TKM in the Penalto lift station was a problem. The city had direct control and authority in this matter, whereas in this matter, we are simply adding an input to ADEQ. ADEQ is holding this meeting that's identified next week, according to ADEQ officials that I talked, not because it's a requirement, but because they want to be open and transparent. I raise it because we expect other governmental agencies to aggressively exercise environmental authority. We should also be willing to do it on our own turf. Environmental protection should be measured by results, not simply by how strongly we word a resolution. Northwest Arkansas has changed dramatically since 2004. More people create more solid waste, and landfill capacity is difficult, and everybody has the not in my backyard. I'm so glad that the people didn't feel that way when NACA built a sewer plant that Tontitown sends their waste every time they flush a toilet. It means and allow a necessary infrastructure to operate, but required to operate within the law. I support asking difficult questions. I support permit conditions where evidence justifies them. I support challenging specifics where there's technical basis, and I support strict enforcement. A lot of people said that we've got problems. Show me proof and read the 15 addresses rather than talking in generalities. Here they are if you want to look at them. I yield.
Mr. Graves.
I just got a question. Are we opposing, it's a resolution to oppose waste management expansion. Are we opposing that, or are we opposing the oncoming testing? some
May
of
I
my
answer that?
question. Yes, please.
May I answer that?
When you get, can you?
Sure.
can you-
I'd be happy to answer it when it gets to me, Mr. Grant.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Burris, for your introduction to this. Thank you, Mr. Wagner, for your response. It seems like we've got, something in front of us that is touchy. It's touchy for everybody. We've heard public comment out here tonight. And so I really wasn't thinking in the way you presented it, Mr. Wagner, that, approving this air permit would give us any kind of teeth to, and hold them more accountable. So it's tough to hear that. So I'm interested to hear what Mr. Burris kind of, as you've kind of crusaded this forward and brought this forward to the council. I'm curious to hear what you've got on that end in regards to the comments made by Councilor Wagner. So I'm kind of torn in between. I hear Mr. Burris's plea to listen to the constituents and their calls, but I also do want to have some kind of relationship with waste management where we can work together cordially to remedy the ammonia and any other issues. We heard about the clog that we've got inside the tank or in the pipes that we had to cut in and go find it, and we gotta get that fixed, and they're going to pay for those repairs, but we've got to do something that a proactive plan rather than a reactive plan for that. So having a working relationship with this entity is going to be crucial, and having a working relationship with ADEQ and ADEE is even more crucial. So I think that'd be a wise thing to come to that meeting, as Mr. Wagner said, and ask them to have more teeth within that permit. And should they disregard everything and anything that everybody comes to that meeting on August 25th at 6 p.m. at the church, and they go ahead and give that permit, how do we get them to give us more teeth within that permit to hold this entity more accountable for this permit? I think that's probably where we need to start looking as this goes before that board. I understand that passing this resolution to to not allow that air permit to go forward is a unison voice to that board. So I can see how that could be strong, and hopefully they recognize Tontitown and the constituents and the elected officials that are listening to their constituents speak their voice. So I can see that end, but I really want ADEQ, as I'm saying this, that's what I think. I think ADEQ is where we really need them to hear from their constituents and do what their constituents want and hold this entity accountable for their actions, for whatever pollutants are coming out of the landfill. I mean, it's there. It's, the reporting from that we heard on that clip. How can you deny, the National Guard coming in and doing those testings and then having those third-party tests come in and same results come in? How can you deny that the landfill is not doing some kind of harm to the environment? With that, I yield my time and look forward to hearing from the rest of the council.
And the only thing I have to say, I think, anyway, it says renew, and it was my understanding, or perhaps my misunderstanding, that they wanted to increase their air output, and I thought that's what this was about as much as anything. So from here on out, I yield. Mr. Burris.
Mr. Burris.
Thank you. Councilmember Wagner, thank you so much. As always, you've done a great deal of research, and you have a great voice and a great way to look at this. What I want to just let you and also Councilmember Montez understand is that it isn't one or the other. I don't think that we can't edit the draft. I don't think that we shouldn't have stronger monitoring. I don't think that we shouldn't investigate the concerns. I think all those things should happen, every single one of them. We should investigate every concern. We should have stronger monitoring, undoubtedly. We should edit the draft if there are areas where it needs to be edited, or in the future, if something comes up that we recognize needs something different on it. The reason why I believe that it's important that we say, and by the way, to Mr. Graves, Councilmember Graves, this isn't an expansion. It was worded incorrectly on the agenda. And it's not saying no to testing. It is saying there's this air quality permit that they have to, every 5 years or so, ask for. And when we have a meeting that we're having across the street next week, that meeting is not a courtesy. That meeting is a requirement. So they're not just showing up because they just want to hear, how can we do better? We've done these before, and we've had 100 people come and talk, and they don't care to necessarily do what's better. What I want to do is I want to work well with Waste Management. I think we've got a great group of people here on the council that can work really well with Waste Management. But in order to work with them, it doesn't mean, hey, we deny the air quality and therefore we've got no teeth. That's not at all what this is. That's a straw man argument. It isn't one or the other. What we're saying, what I'm proposing, is that we have a resolution, not an ordinance, a resolution that says we as a council don't think this is a great idea. We don't like the idea of you expanding the air quality piece or renewing their air quality permit. That's what we're saying. In the midst of that, I suspect ADEQ is going to do what they always do, which is not hear anything that we have to say. But I think it's important, as Councilmember Montez pointed out, that we still take our opportunity to speak on behalf of our citizens. Our citizens will speak across the street tomorrow, and they will hear it. But when we as a council say, no, we're against it, it's going to mean a lot more to them than 200 people, 300 people, 400 people saying it. The 6 of us have an opportunity right now to vote yes on a resolution that will help with that. I yield.
Mr. Wishkoyak.
Thank you. I'll try to get this done in 5 minutes. You know, I hear what you're saying, Tim, but it's hard. It sounds like we're talking out of both sides of our neck at the same time. We want to work with them, but we want to smack them down with this resolution. My biggest concern with the resolution as proposed, it could be viewed as a precursor to litigation should the city not be successful in blocking the issuance of the permit. The permit renewal is a requirement under Title V of the Clean Air Act. The permit requires facilities to outline the specific emissions limits and compliance obligations. As Mr. Wagner took some of my talking points, they've asked for stronger emissions limits. It mandates facilities monitor their emissions and report on compliance with established air quality standards. Penalties for non-compliance can range up to civil fines up to $124,000 per violation. Without a factual basis to show that it's not meeting its obligations under Title V and just the anecdotal stories, I'm not sure that we have the grounds to support this resolution. Secondly, CTEH was paid $600,000 to do a report on, and it did 10 days of monitoring in May of 2025. With your permission, I'll read the executive summary that was produced. I'll try to highlight some of the things. Arkansas Department of Energy and Environment commissioned CTEH to conduct an expanded air quality investigation in Tontitown following community concerns regarding odors, air quality, and potential health impacts. The study was performed May 2 to 12, 2025 and focused on determining whether Ecopista landfill was contributing to compounds previously detected in the community and documenting odor conditions. The study included 215 24-hour VOC samples, 165 hydrogen fluoride samples, 31-hour VOC samples, 1,286 odor assessments, 4,411 real-time air measurements. Sampling occurred at landfill fence line locations, community locations, background locations. Meteorological monitoring was used to evaluate wind direction and potential source attribution. 36 components were detected during the study. No compound met the study's criteria for being most likely attributable to the landfill. Benzene and ethylbenzene were identified as compounds likely influenced by landfill operations near the fence line, but measured concentrations remain within normal ambient air ranges reported nationally. I'm going to skip ahead because I'm going to run out of time. There are some recommendations for City Council. 1, Support additional investigation into the acrylonitrile sources within the region. I think that's something that we can do. We can evaluate the sewer infrastructure, which is being done, particularly the South Finalto lift station. That's being worked on. It's going to be a slow process, we know, but it's happening. We'll continue continue maintaining an odor compliant tracking and response program. Consider requesting seasonal or long-term follow-up monitoring to evaluate whether conditions vary throughout the year, and coordinate with state agencies regarding future scope, source investigations, and public communications. I've identified 4 companies that can help with the seasonal and/or follow-up monitoring. They're Alpha Analytical, Spectrum Environmental Solutions, TRC Companies, and Advanced Geological Incorporated. Third, there's currently civil litigation pending against Ecovista in the form of a class action suit. There are a number of allegations that are submitted by plaintiffs in the said lawsuit. I'll read just a few of them. The NOx's emissions were created because of intentional and affirmative acts taken by the defendant. By constructing and then failing to reasonably repair, maintain, and operate the landfill, the defendant has negligently created an unreasonable risk of foreseeable harm. Nuisance conditions created by defendant are abatable with reasonable care, effort, and diligence. There's several more. I'll skip ahead. Those of you familiar with civil litigation will realize that these causes of action will be ferreted out through the discovery process in civil litigation. Experts will be hired, and determinations, should they be made, should those determinations be determined valid, those accusations rather be determined valid, EPA can act on those. So I will yield the rest of my time.
All right, thank you, sir. Everybody knows how I feel about this.
I don't think
and
I've
that's-
had my second time.
I haven't had my first.
Have at it.
Thank you.
Not sure why.
ADQ air
Thought he had
permit
his second.
is a 5-year renewal permit decision for waste management. The permit states decreases and increases in air measurements for waste management, flare, gas tank, natural gas fueling stations, leachate tanks, and gas plants. I want to tell you, there are 2 different issues that we have going on. One of them is the leachate. The other is the odors and the vapors coming directly from the landfill. If ADEQ cannot make waste management do what they're supposed to do right now with the regulations that they have, how are they going to do it if we have more things? They're not doing it now. So why not give them a little bit more and say the city is listening to its constituents. The city is listening to the citizens. Our council should listen to our citizens. But they're not. ADQ is not they're not upholding what they're supposed to do. I have a case, a huge case, and I can bring it up here, from 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. It shows every violation given to waste management with zero accountability. Nothing. Many years ago, they did get fined. Nobody knows where the money went. One time, they got fined. Nobody knows where the money went. They've been looking for it at the Capitol. If we cannot do something to help our citizens, even just a little bit, saying we support our citizens, why would we not do it? The odors and the gases have caused area citizens to have headaches, nausea, watery eyes, a suspicious autoimmune disease problems, many of them. I have 4 in my family. I was just diagnosed with the autoimmune disease a month ago. My daughter, that's 30, has it. My grandson, that's 5, has it. Different things. My grandson, that's 15, has it. There are so many different things that's going on, and we are sitting here doing nothing about it. And I have tried everything that I possibly know how. One of the one of the people down the road has the same autoimmune disease as my 5-year-old grandson. My daughter woke up and went to his room. He was covered in blood. They had to rush him to Children's. She thought he was dead. His white blood cells and his red blood cells were attacking each other. One of them was 0.0008, which should have been over 350, and he didn't even have 1. He could have died. I honestly believe it's from the vapors and the fumes that's coming from the landfill. I can smell it. It wakes me up at night. I know the other citizens around where I live, the same thing is happening. Why would we not want to do something to help us? They're not doing anything now. Why would we not want to do whatever we can as a council to support our citizens? Mr. Wagner, your second turn, sir.
Thank you. Again, we're saying that nothing is being done. Permit change number 1 adds a new candlestick flare to control landfill gas. Permit change number 4 reduces the sulfur limits from 400 parts per million by volume to 10 parts per million. Permit change number 5 restricts to natural gas assessments, removes the landfill gas operating scenario from these engines, and provides natural gas only operations. Permit change number 6 provides a specific annual operating hour limit for the renewable natural gas process flare. This is measurable and enforceable. Permit change number 8 adds initial and periodic landfill gas testing for specific hazards, air pollutants using an EPA method. This gives ADEQ site-specific data with which to evaluate. Permit change number 9 adds carbon monoxide to the uncontrolled landfill gas emissions inventory. Permit change number 6 moves the gasoline tank from an insignificant activity treatment into a permit that is a numbered source and subjects. Permit change number 12 brings both large leachate storage tanks directly into the permit because one had previously been unpermitted. That changes and proves transparency, enforceability, and historical records. Permit change number 13 consolidates leachate storage into 2 permitted 100,000 gallon tanks and removes other leachate tanks from the insignificant activities list. This is favorable if the removed tanks are actually out of service. Permit change 14 adds express plant-wide hazardous air pollutant limits as permit conditions. Permit change number 15 adds the complete applicable federal landfill NESAP requirements to the plant-wide permit conditions, improving the permit's completeness and enforcement. Now one takes the other side. There's 4 other items other than the 15 limited. And by the way, Larry, this is the 9th renewal for the air permit. This is not a new one. I've yet to hear anybody say it's increased the allowance of higher levels, but that's not what it shows. But let's talk about the other side. The haul-off dust control efficiency has changed from 90 to 75. Simply put, they're saying that it's not realistic to say you can contain 90% on a 20 mile an hour wind, and you're trying to cover trash with red clay. It's probably not going to be reasonable. So you could make that saying that's a looseness or a reduced limitation. Permit change number 3 replaces supplements AP 42 factors with YAC factors. It's basically saying they're doing, it's kind of a nothing burger in that it's changing the methodology by which they're measuring it. Permit change number 7 updates the air permit to reflect the landfill capacity already authorized from 23.19 million to 23.36 million. Slight increase, so some want to make that as maybe their whipping post that this is an expansion. It's really minute. Permit change number 11 adds a natural gas fueling station to the facility trucks. This station is a new permitted activity and contributes to VOCs. It's not in itself an enhanced pollution control. Reasonable questions should be brought about that. But these are things that if we want to talk about specific issues, they're all right there. You know, we talk about generalities, and Mayor, might I ask, you know, your grandkids, and I hate to hear they're sick, but I've raised two honor students that were in a direct wind path of the landfill, and now I've got two grandkids. I'm as equally concerned about them as you are yours. Thank God they're healthy, and in reality, this is a landfill. And some of the individuals that spoke bought land in 800 feet from the landfill's edge. You know, maybe due diligence should have been done on that part. If you're really concerned about it, maybe you should have known the facts a little before then. But I'm just trying to say the permit that this resolution is saying we vote down is actually putting more teeth. And we're saying, no, let's not do this. Let's not do this. Let's shut it off. Don't make any sense. I yield.
Okay, Mr. Graves.
I like where you guys are going with this, but I just can't say yes just because of the wording in it. If it's more specific, I'd be yes.
Mr. Montez. I'm sorry, Mr. Graves, did you want to yield the rest of your time? Thank you, sir. Mr. Montez.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thanks, council, for your discussion. I hope everybody sees where I see and what sides I see this argument. Like, you have a lot of passion up here on this item, and it a lot to think about. And it's not like we can table this and wait until later and think about it some more, as this is coming up soon. I thought it was interesting that Mr. Wagner said this is the 9th renewal. I also heard the mayor say that this renewal happens every 5 years. So if that's the case, and that's been the case, that's 45 years of renewal, if you do the math on that. But again, that was my problem with this, is that I feel like this permit gives ADEQ enforcement capabilities. And that's why I think in my previous comment, I said, you know, coming to us and asking for this and speaking for this, I get the passion behind it, but I think that energy needs to be focused on going to ADEQ and asking for more enforcement to be put into this permit, rather than telling us to deny the permit, going to ADEQ. And if there's stuff that y'all want placed into that permit and giving them more teeth, I think that's the place where action comes. And you know, I find it puzzling that in 2022 we had a ammonia treatment plan put in place, and for some reason, with the direction of NACA and saying that they'll treat it, just send it to us. I wasn't on council at that point, and I find that embarrassing that council members that were there didn't push that forward and get that enacted, because we probably wouldn't have the issues that we have at the lift station had that been in place this whole time. And so, you know, that's why when we had that discussion with Waste Management about implementing that again, and they want to go back to the drawing board and start that process over, and now we're waiting until we've given them till October to come up with a game plan. I think now we just had the discovery of the pumps and the sludge inside the pipe that's clogged the pipe up. I mean, are we going to wait until October to talk to them about that? I know we've got a plan, and we've already started a remedy plan, an action plan on that, but that could have been something that could have been brought up in an every 30-day sit here and discuss this, that I tried to have implemented. So, you know, I don't know if we're approaching this in the right direction. But I believe Mr. Burrs has a second bite at the apple. So I will, again, listen to discussion on both sides. I'm sure the mayor probably has something else to rebuttal too. So that's all I'm doing is listening to each side up here and thinking about every single one of you. I'm looking you in the eyes. I'm looking down this into the public, and I'm looking at you, and I'm thinking about, you know, where you stand and what you've said at the mic tonight as I make a decision on what we do. Thank you. I yield my time.
Mr. Artemani?
And anytime that we leave something up to ADEQ for whatever reason, it seems that they prefer not to enforce what they can. So if nothing else, if we say we don't want this, it's just something else that they have to look at, and perhaps it'll have no teeth, but I'm in favor of doing it just to make a statement. It won't make any difference, but I'm in favor of doing it to make a statement, if nothing else. And I yield, Mr. Burris.
Mr. Burris?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Councilman Wagner, I'm sorry, you had a question earlier that I didn't answer. I didn't mean to avoid it, but it was about my timing on the council regarding our relationship with WM. 14 days before I was appointed to this council, the mayor at the time, who I won't name, lied to the council about what they were voting on. And Waste Management was given the opportunity to get an expansion, and he kept saying, oh, this is nothing. This is no big deal. It's just a procedural vote. It wasn't true. It was 2 weeks before I was appointed here. In addition to that, this does precede me. It predates me by several years. I am one of those people that bought a property near Waste Management. I've been in town not quite 8 years yet, and I was told by all parties, as I did my due diligence from 1,200 miles away, that the dump was wrapping up. It was going to be gone in 5 years. Lots of people have been told that. So I understand your point, but I do believe that the people that are in this situation didn't intend to get in this situation. I didn't know that the landfill was there until 2 weeks before I closed on my house. Again, I moved here from 1,200 miles away. Some of that happens with some people here. You may think that that lacked due diligence. I understand that argument. But again, we have people that are put in a position, rightly or wrongly, where we are up against a landfill. I don't know how we can ask ADEQ to take our citizens' concerns seriously if we can't ask them to hold the current level of pollutants or to work with WM in any way to do the things they ought to do. Yes, there have been many, many complaints. You may be aware, you may not, that for a time, every time ADEQ did an inspection, they found zero wrong. Find any restaurant in Northwest Arkansas that will never, ever, ever have some violation when the health inspector shows up. And lo and behold, they found out later that there was a rogue person working at ADEQ that was giving WM a heads up every time before they got here. Well, I mean, that's malfeasance. By the way, that person was put into a different role. I don't know where that person is. They never said if it was male or female or who it was. I'm sorry?
They were rehomed.
They were rehomed. That was the right word. So ADEQ isn't asking for our input. As Councilmember Wagner pointed out earlier, yeah, that's one of the things we could do. We could edit this thing. ADEQ isn't asking for our editing skills. They aren't asking for our input. They don't care. They don't care any more than they've cared before now. I don't think, as I said earlier, they're even going to care if we vote to say, hey, you know what? Enough is enough. Please don't do this. But I don't know how we can say there's a problem and also allow them to relax their standards in any way whatsoever. Our concerns as a city have been cast aside. Unfortunately, the concerns of our constituents have been cast aside. And I do understand, Mr. Wagner and others, I understand where you're coming from. Mr. Waskowiak, you spoke well too. However, just because we have a lawsuit on a thing doesn't mean we can't hold their feet to the fire on a different thing. Yes, there are statements where people say, I believe they have purposefully done these things. Well, that's somebody's statement. That doesn't mean the city said it. Whether there's some lawsuit going on from a class action standpoint, which, as you mentioned, is happening or not, that has nothing to do with us as a city. But for us as a city, we need to do something to listen to and to care for our people. I understand if you can't get all the way behind it, but I can't fully comprehend how you can believe that by saying we don't want this resolution that somehow it takes away the teeth. It doesn't. It doesn't. But it says we're listening and we want you to listen as well, ADEQ. So I hope those of you that are firmly in a camp will not regret this decision, because one day we're in the news for people that are in really, really bad shape because we didn't do the right thing. I get where you're coming from, but I hope that you will please vote for this resolution asking ADEQ to deny this air permit. Thank you. I will yield my 6 seconds.
Mr. Wishkowiak.
Just want to follow up with the recommendations again. Consider requesting seasonal long-term follow-up monitoring to evaluate weather conditions vary throughout the year. I'll list the 4 companies again: Alpha Analytical, Spectrum Environmental Solutions, TRC Companies, Advanced Geological Incorporated. And number 5, coordinate with state agencies regarding future source investigations and public communications. So I understand what you're doing. I think we are listening, and I didn't come on council till January 1st of 2023. And I'll admit to Ms. Graham, I was ignorant of the ordinances. I didn't learn of our position as a control authority until, many years later. So I'll take full accountability for being ignorant of that. But being ignorant and, just means you can be taught and learn from your mistakes. And I hope we're doing that. And I think these steps, I see the resolution as a symbolic gesture. Yes, I understand. Please go to the meeting and talk to people about the concerns that you have. We've heard you. We believe you. It's not that. I just don't think passing this resolution sends the right message to the company if we're going to try to work with them to solve the issues, really solve the issues. So for those reasons, I'll have to vote no against the resolution. I yield.
Okay, this air permit is for 5 years, this renewal. Until Waste Management can correct all the mistakes that they have made, I do not think that we should stand behind them trying to do this for another 5 years. They can't even hold their feet. ADEQ cannot even hold Waste Management's feet accountable for the things that they're doing now. I've lived here in Tontitown for 36 years. There was a dump there, but you couldn't see it. You couldn't smell it. You didn't even know it was there if you drove by. My neighbors are the same way. Next door neighbors, they've been there for over 65 years that I know of, because I know Miss Donna's been there her whole life. The RNG plant that has 2 flares already, that doesn't seem to be doing anything, that doesn't have scrubbers on them, that's causing chemicals to come into the air. What's one more that's not going to do anything? They don't have a scrubber on the 2 they have, which is causing chemicals to go into the air. 2 inches of dirt every night is supposed to be over the open face. They don't do that. You can see pictures where they have a tarp over it and the rest of it's hanging out the sides. I just say that until they can correct the issues that's going on now, we should not allow them to have 5 more years to maybe do what they're supposed to do. All right, council. Roll call.
Tim,
Yes.
Mike,
No.
Larry,
Yes.
Danny,
No.
Mick,
No.
Craig.
No.
Fails.
Motion fails.
We'll move on to D. A discussion and approval of a resolution approving grant application for North Barrington. Mr. Wagner.
This is pretty simple in that James asked me to sponsor this because it's a requirement under some federal grants that we're looking at. So it's kind of like a procedure we have to do to receive these grants. So unless you don't want a grant, I would say vote yes.
All right, do I have a motion?
I will make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Okay, discussion. We'll start. Mr. Wagner?
Yes. Discussion. I've done discussed it. I have nothing else to say. Yield.
Yield your time. Mr. Graves?
Nothing to add.
Did you want to yield your time, sir?
Yes, I'll yield my time.
Okay, Mr. Montez?
I'll yield my time, no comment.
Okay, Mr. Armani?
I yield.
Mr. Burris?
I have no comment. Thank you. I'll yield.
And Mr. Wishkowiak?
No comment, yield.
A roll call.
Mick,
Yes.
Danny,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tim.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to E. That one passed.
Yes.
No,
A
that was
discussion
D.
and approval of a resolution approving grant application for Harmon Wildcat. Mr. Wagner?
This would be the same story in second verse, that a grant is requiring that we have formal action by the council. And I do pray that we will vote positive on this ordinance or resolution.
Okay, do you want to,
I think I have a motion to approve.
do you have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Mr. Wagner? Do you have anything else you'd like to say, sir? We're 5 minutes to yield.
Yield.
Mr. Graves?
I yield.
Mr. Montez?
No comment.
Armani?
I yield.
Mr. Burris?
I yield. Thank you.
And Mr. Wishkowiak?
Ditto.
All right, roll call.
Danny,
Yes.
Mick,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and Tim.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to F, a discussion of ordinance to establish a director of parks, museum, and grants. Mr. Wagner.
Mayor, may I?
Oh, yes, sir, I'm sorry.
Again, council, there are two competing ordinances on this one. I'm going to read the one that I have redlined, and it is the longer of the two. I think it's in the supplemental. An ordinance establishing the position of Director of Parks, Museum, and Grants for the city of Tontitown, Arkansas, designating the position as a department head, reporting directly to the mayor, defining the director's authority and responsibilities for municipal parks, the city museum, citywide grant coordination, clarifying that the position shall not exercise the powers of a city manager, city administrator, or chief administrative officer, reconciling references to the community development director, adopting a job description, declaring an emergency, and for other purposes.
And you said this is different than the one in the packet. Is that correct, Mr. Farrar?
Yes, sir, there are two, and one is in the supplemental. It's the one that contains the red line.
Thank you.
Can I call a point of order real quick?
Sir, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Farrar, for bringing that to our attention. I was kind of trying to figure out what you meant by that. So you're saying all three of these supplemental documents that were put in here are different than the ones that were inside our packet?
No, I'm saying that the ordinance that appears in the packet is one that was not submitted to me for legal review. I got a different one, and it's been captured in your supplemental material and looks like this.
So
The
with that-
attachments, though, I believe are correct.
Okay,
Okay.
council, just to let you know, if someone calls point of order, we have to have a motion, a second, and council has to vote on it.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
sorry.
With that purpose, the only thing I would say was we had the ordinance that was over the Human Resource Department, and there was a declaring emergency and other purposes, and we did not do a motion on the emergency clause. So what happens to that?
Good question.
If you do not, If you do not have the emergency clause, then you have,
So let's take a separate vote on it then.
you can take a separate vote, or it goes into effect within 30 days.
Yeah, if you don't take a separate vote on it. So if the council wants the emergency clause effective immediately, go back and take a separate vote, please.
Okay. I just saw that was
Yeah,
part of that.
that's a good catch.
Ordinance, and then it's not on that one, so I know we didn't do that. If we want it, I don't think it's pressing that we do.
Okay. So on the Director for Parks, Museum, and Grants, we need a motion.
Well, actually, does the sponsor get to introduce it before there's a motion and second, which has been the customary practice in the past?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. The purpose of this position that I'm trying to explain is support of the proposed establishment of the position of Director of Parks, Museum, and Grants. This proposal would replace the existing title of Community Development Director with a more accurate and narrowly defined department head position responsible for 3 related municipal functions: Parks and Rec Administration, oversight of the city museum and related cultural and historical programs, citywide grant identification, applications, and such. The city currently uses the Community Development Director as a broad and potentially misleading, because community development may be misunderstood to include planning, zoning, economic development, public works, infrastructure, grants, parks, code enforcement, building administration, or other general management, essentially vice mayor. Over time, the lack of precise ordinance defining the position has allowed responsibilities to be assigned and assumed without a clear legislative framework. This has been opined by our city attorney. This has created uncertainty regarding proper or position's proper role, its relationship, and other department heads. The existing title may also suggest that the position functions as a city administrator, chief administrative officer, or intermediary between the mayor and other department heads. Such an arrangement would be inconsistent with the organization structure of the city and attempting to establish through adoption of individual department head ordinances. The city should not allow an employee's authority to be determined by an informal line, past practice, or administrative assignment. The scope of the department head position should be clearly established by ordinance with identifiable duties, reporting relationships, and limitations. The primary concern is not whether the city needs an experienced employee to perform useful work. The concern is that the existing community development director is so broad that it provides little guidance regarding what the employee is authorized to manage and what responsibilities remain assigned. The present arrangement creates several risks: overlapping authority among planning, public works, finance, and otherwise, which have somewhat been cleaned up by previous council actions; confusion among employees regarding who directs their work, who do they report to; development of an unofficial city administrator role, even though the city operates as a mayor council form of government. It also has weakened accountability because broad assignments may be without corresponding legislative definitions, performance expectations, or limitations. The proposed title of Director of Parks, Museum, and Grants, the title accurately defines 3 principal areas. The director would report directly to the mayor. The director would not serve as a city manager, city admin, or otherwise. The director would have direct administrative responsibilities for parks and city museum. The director would also serve as the primary grant coordinator, assisting all city departments without assuming operational control. This distinction is essential. The director may help other departments identify grant, prepare applications, maintain deadlines, assemble supporting documentation, administer reimbursements, and complete reporting. However, the department benefiting from the grant may remain responsible for defining its needs, approving technical information, operating the project, and complying with departmental standards. Grant coordination should support departments, not supersede them. Combining parks and the museum under one department head is a reasonable and an efficient organization structure. Both functions involve public facilities, visitor services, community programming, special events, educational activities, tourism, volunteers, grounds and facility needs, public engagement. The city may also benefit from cross-training and sharing employees between the parks and museum when workloads, public hours, events, special needs, or staffing shortages require additional assistance. This does not mean that the city museum and parks are identical operations. Each function should maintain appropriate records, budgets, programs, and performance information. However, placing both under one department head allows the city to coordinate staff and resources more effectively while reducing unnecessary administration duplications. Any sharing of personnel should remain consistent with the adopted personnel policies, budget appropriation, job classifications, grant restrictions, and the employee's qualifications. The proposed structure should also clarify the relationship between the city museum, its employees, and any museum commission, board, committee, historical society, volunteer organization, or advisory group. The city museum is a municipal operation. Its employees are city employees. They receive their checks from the city. They also maintain or operate facilities and programs that remain subject to municipal oversight and accountability. An advisory body can provide valuable assistance regarding the historic museum. However, unless specific authority is granted by ordinance, an advisory body should not independently supervise city employees, expend public funds, execute contracts, accept restricted property on behalf of the city, or otherwise bind the city. Citywide grant coordination would benefit, or the city would benefit, by available grant opportunities, applications submitted, grants awarded, matching. The director should assist all departments in preparing these, as mentioned previously. Preservation of departmental authority. The proposed restructuring is designed to strengthen rather than weaken the city's department head system. Clear accountability. Employees, elected officials, and the public will be able to identify the exact responsibilities. Physical and personal impact. It does not by itself create an additional employee position. This ordinance establishes or increases compensation. It does not authorize the hiring of additional personnel, appropriate additional money, create a new grant funding obligation, or otherwise. The director should be evaluated based on the objective measurable results, successful administration of part, timely and accurately reporting, staff utilization, and other items. Following adaptation or adoption of this ordinance, the city would make the following directions. Replace the community development director with the department or director of parks, museum, and grants. Adopt Exhibit A as an official job description. Conclusion. The proposed director of parks, museum, and grants provide the city with a practical and accountable method of organizing several related municipal functions. This position recognizes the employee's experience in parks, recreations, provides needed citywide grant coordination, and establishes clear admin oversight of the city museum. Equally important, the ordinance limits the position to those functions and prevents it becoming an undefined city admin or general city manager. The proposal is not intended to criticize the value of any particular employee. It is intended to ensure that municipal authority belongs to the positions established by law and ordinance rather than an individual who happens to occupy it. The city council should define positions before allowing authority to be executed. Clear titles, duties, reporting relationships, and limitations protect employees, elected officials, taxpayers, and the city. For those reasons, I pray for a positive vote on this ordinance.
Taking a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion. All right, Mr. Wagner, we'll start with you.
I think I've discussed it enough for the last
Think you
5
did.
minutes.
Did you want to yield your time?
I'll yield my time.
Mr. Graves?
Nothing to add. I'll yield my time.
Okay, Mr. Montez?
I think that Mr. Wagner has created this ordinance and this position and structured it in a manner that seems logical. Prior to this, though, I had talked with Streets and the Community Development Director. I thought we were going to maintain streets being managed under this position, but it looks like we've got item G tonight that's going to establish a Public Works Department Director. I was hoping that Mr. Artemani might be here tonight to talk on behalf of that, or at least have a one-on-one conversation with me. I did to have that. But I don't really have any questions. It's pretty cut and dry with the multiple pages of documents we've got in front of us that I've analyzed. So I don't have any questions at this point.
You want to yield
Yes,
to-
ma'am.
Mr. Artemani?
He presented something that's, fairly in-depth and whatnot, but when he talked about cross using museum and parks people at times, that was rather confusing, because I don't see our museum ladies jumping on a lawnmower out here in the park or
This position doesn't include driving lawnmowers.
Mr. Artemani, it is your time to speak.
the Parks Department drives lawnmowers, by the way. But, so at some point, I just don't see how all of them fit under the same umbrella, and that's where I'm going to leave it. I'll yield my time.
Mr. Burris?
Thank you. I believe, after reading it, that the idea, and this is to answer you, Mr. Artemani, Councilman Artemani, is that it's creating a department head that is the director of parks, and then we also have a person now that's in charge of grants, and we have somebody who is in charge of the museum. It's something that's going to come up later. It might have made more sense if that came up first. But I think the idea is just to have a director that's over all of that. And if I'm wrong, I'm sure Mr. Wagner can help me better understand that. My take on this is there may be things that I would change or not change. I read it. It's extensive. I listened as Mr. Wagner just read it to us on his position paper, which I appreciate. I think the highlight of it, or the best part of it, is that it's defining a thing. It's defining a role. And we just constantly have to be defining where we are. And it may not be perfect, but it's a definition of a role. And if that needs to change in the future, we can change that definition. Council can change that definition. So I think it's a great place to start. I don't have any concerns about it, really, that are really even worth discussing. But I think at the very least, just to have something that works. I think we already have a person in place that is perfect for the role, that's basically doing most of that already anyway. So I like the idea very much, and I appreciate you bringing it forward, Councilman.
Mr.
I
Wishkowiak?
yield.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I like this proposal too, and I would concur with one of the last things that Mr. Burris said about the person in the position now is well suited for the position. I think this position offers a lot of new opportunities that may have been overlooked in the past. It allows to focus on, our park is a well-attended park. We know that anybody that goes by at any time during the day or on the weekends, lots of events that go on at the park. But we all saw, if you attended Family Fun Day, it was a huge success. I think there are opportunities for more of those. I know we have a few that come throughout the year. Heritage Day, the Fall Bocce Tournament, which is coming up. This year we're going to do a Christmas event, Halloween in the park. I'm sure that will fall under the purview. I think I also want to point out one thing, and I'm not sure if it was mentioned in Mr. Wagner's statement about the position. We'll make it clear that no one intends to replace Ms. Brashears in her role as a curator of the museum or whatever the title is. She's staying in place. This will not eliminate her position at all. I think he probably made that part clear. But again, this position allows someone to laser focus on grant writing in particular, which is a specialty I think that Mr. Latham's shown that he has a proclivity for doing. One of the things that he and I talked about was the city's in desperate need to acquire green space for parks, and this focus I think should be one of the highest priorities for us. I've mentioned up here before that the city needs a library. We got too many people in this town to not have a library. We need activities that the youth who live in the city can participate in. So acquiring that green space is something that should take priority in this role as well. So I see all in the ordinance and in the job description and everything else, I see a lot of opportunity for the person in that role. I think it's a good thing for the city, and I will certainly passage. I'll yield.
All right. Just want to clarify a question that was asked. Council, as you remember, we placed Mr. Latham in the community development position because we needed someone who would have a comprehensive understanding of everything happening throughout the city, especially when different changes are made. The new mayor, new council. We needed someone in the city that that knows what's going on in all departments. And the purpose of that position is to ensure the future councils, mayors, staff members, and elected officials that they have a single knowledgeable point of contact who can provide accurate information and guidance on city operations. Mr. Latham is an incredible asset to the city of Tontitown. His knowledge of municipal operations and his experience in city government are unmatched. Few people, whether staff or elected officials, possess the depth of understanding that Mr. Latham has regarding the day-to-day operations of a city and the long-term planning necessary for success. Throughout his time with the city, Mr. Latham has elevated the street department to an exceptional level and has been instrumental in securing more than $44 million in grant funding. His contributions have directly benefited our infrastructure growth and financial stability. Given his experience and accomplishments and the role he plays in overseeing, coordinating the city operations, it is difficult to understand why the street department would not remain under his leadership and added to this, just like Montez. That's what I thought was it was going to be as well. But I do feel like this is necessary. However, I do think that we need to add the street department under this. It would save so much in funds. He already knows what's going on. He's got an agenda for the streets, has it laid out, and I yield the rest of my time. Mr. Wagner.
The description you gave of Mr. Latham sounds like a mayor in a mayoral form of government role. However, I believe the ordinance, as previously stated, allows a combination of three unique areas. And thank you, Mr. Waskowiak, for pointing out the fact that this in no way deals with the removal, replacement, or otherwise of the employees that operate a museum, which are very important. I would also say to Mr. Artemani's comments about jumping on a lawnmower, those individuals, I think, that currently do it work with what will hopefully be the Public Works Department. The city just recently hired a part-time parks person, which I had asked for some information and received that. And it seems very logical, as presented in the position paper, that if you had a full-time museum director who gives reports, and typically there's 20 to 30 people, sometimes more, but that's, I think, pretty much an average attendance through the museum, while the new community buildings coming online, that person, I assume, would be the park person, which to me, it makes a whole lot more sense to have two full-time people than one person, part-time person, and a second part-time person. So there would be cross-training, so people do get sick and they do take vacations, and I don't believe it would be that intricate or a big a jump to take those two people and cross-train them, not diminishing their primary designed roles. So again, for efficiencies in operations and the experience levels of what Mr. Latham has done, taking nothing away from what he has done, and we keep, or at least the mayor referred to streets. I think when we get into the second ordinance talking about the public works director, it'll get more involved. It's a little bit more than just the streets. So with that, I'll yield my time.
Okay, Mr. Graves
Nothing to add, yield my time.
and Mr. Montez.
I don't have anything at this time. I'll use my time.
Mr. Artemani,
I yield.
Mr. Burris.
I yield.
Hey, Mr. Wishkoyak.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I agree that Mr. Latham's been a big asset to the city. He has put on and worn many hats throughout his time here. That's why I believe he is a perfect fit for this position. I think the focus on this as somehow being a slight to him is incorrect. Everyone seems to focus on what's, the present without looking into the future. Should we upgrade and add green space and parks and municipal city leagues, soccer, softball, baseball, this position have more than enough to do with that alone. The grant writing is can take an extensive amount of time. So, I don't see this as I see this as a great opportunity to make things even better in the town. I don't see this as a slight to anything that Mr. Latham has done at all. I yield.
Okay. I just, so you understand what I was talking about, I feel this should be restructured to add streets, because we need someone who would have a comprehensive understanding, everything throughout the city, not just one or two sections. And council actually approved the community development position for the reason to have someone, whenever someone else is coming in, a new person, that they would be educated on what was happening within the city. I know that Mr. Clark had streets at one time, and I know that it got to be a lot with water and sewer. And with Mr. Latham taking that on for him, I know that it was a huge relief. So again, I would just ask that you would think about that and restructure to maybe add the streets just to take off a little bit of pressure from other areas. Okay. And roll call.
Mick,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Danny,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and Tim.
Yes.
Okay. And we're taking a 5 to 10 minute break.
Thank you so much. Then we've got to vote on.
And the one we just passed. The last one. No. The last one we just did on parks and museum.
Okay, emergency.
Yes.
We need,
All right, I'm going to call the meeting back to order. We're going to vote on the emergency clause for the parks. What is it? Sorry. The, I have to get my glasses on. The Director of Parks, Museum, and Grants. We're going to have to do an emergency clause. Do I have a motion?
motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Second.
Nick.
Second.
Craig,
Mr. Wagner.
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Danny,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tim. And Tim.
And Tim.
Mr.
Okay.
Burris.
It passes.
Yeah.
So we will move on to G, a discussion of ordinance establishing the Public Works Department and Director. Mr. Wagner.
Actually, can I read it?
Yes, sir.
There are two ordinances on this, and actually the red line is in the packet. So if you'll scroll past the Public Works Director Exhibit A crosswalk, you will see the one I'm going to read. An ordinance establishing the Public Works Department and the position of Public Works Director for the city of Tontitown, Arkansas, defining the department's general responsibilities, establishing the administrative reporting structure, repealing conflicting provisions, declaring an emergency, and for other purposes. And I would note the emergency clause on this one.
Mr. Wagner.
Okay, one of the purposes of this, although not the only one, but an important one, is for, as previously mentioned, months, years, whatever, the title of Public Works Director was worn by Mr. Clark. And at that time, Public Works had water and sewer as well as streets underneath his responsibility. Earlier, I think in June, that was called to the council's attention and the ordinance was placed, putting Mr. Clark clearly as the Water and Sewer Department Director. And as a result of that, this clarifies that the Public Works Director deals with the streets as well as the infrastructure for drainage. It also works closely with the floodplain administrator. And one thing that is important about this is the responsibility of the public infrastructure, including streets, right-of-ways, storm drainage, traffic control devices, and other things, all are falling underneath this newly formed department head. The benefits, maintaining separate department heads, provide a distinct operational accountability and allows each department to develop by specialized expertise. It gives the mayor and the city council separate perspectives about annual budgeting processes and how each department is affected. This proposal should not be viewed as expanding the responsibilities of the Public Works Department into utility operations. Rather, it recognizes both Public Works and Water and Sewer have evolved into two separate municipal functions deserving independent leadership. Together with the Planning Director, the Water and Sewer Department, the Director of Parks, Museums, and Grants, the Human Resources Director, and other departmental heads established by ordinance, the Public Works Director completes an organizational framework that provides clear accountability. I have spoke with Mr. Artemani, not Larry, but his brother. And by the way, his wife is doing well as she came home today. But he is comfortable with this, and I ask for a positive vote.
Okay. Need a motion
I'll make a motion.
and a second.
I'll second.
All right, discussion. Mr. Wagner, do you anything else? Say
Other
anything
than
else?
talking and maybe fleshing out a little more details, Mr. Artemani is currently doing a heck of a job with 3 people. I think when budget time comes around, he's certainly deserving of at least 1 and perhaps 2 others, in my opinion. But he also, not to be confused with the titles and definitions again, one thing that's perfectly clear
He takes great pride, as his Italian history and the park and the museum and all of the appurtenances that bless our park out here. And as if it was his own. And I don't think anybody has to worry about Scott not going the extra mile. And if the Parks and Rec area needs his assistance, he is currently, or his department is keeping the yards mowed. He also has no problem driving across the street to mow the yards of the fire department, who had requested a $20,000 lawnmower in last year's budget. But the synergy is there, and I think he works well to the point of detail, look forwards, and whatever. The gentleman sat in the office with, I don't know if that's pink or purple, but Mr. Zach Johnson, and I'm not sure if he's trying to cross over to LSU or what. But anyway, that aside, I think him and Scott have a unique working arrangement, and I believe there will be a lot more conversations should this ordinance be adopted between those two departments, because after all, you may recall a few months back, we did create a city engineer as a department head, and so we have those two people that have a working history that prove that it's going to be very synergistic, I believe. With that, I'll yield.
Mr. Graves.
Nothing to add. Yield my time.
Mr. Montez.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to point out. I'm going to step back. I'm a little colorblind, but I think this is pink, and that maybe it may or might not be. Okay, well, tough guys wear pink, don't we? Give you a little air fist bump. I think you've got a strong point there, Mr. Wagner. That the relationship between our city engineer and our would be the public works director should have a strong relationship to lead that department in its needs, along with water and sewer and all the other things that the city engineer is involved in. So I like where this is headed, and I like the organizational structure we're going with this. And with that, I'll yield my time.
Mr. Armani.
Strangely enough, I haven't spoken with Scott about this at all. I know he's a hands-on type guy when it comes to doing the streets and whatnot, and I don't know that, I think he would be a whole lot like me. I don't know if he's going to be comfortable trying to present a budget and, arguing with you about why he needs such, but if Mr. Wagner has spoken to him and he's acquiesced to do it, then I'm all in. I yield.
Mr. Burris.
I think, again, it's one of those situations that's less about the person at this point and more about just defining the role. I have no doubt that Scott Artemani would do a fantastic job like he does with everything. But again, just defining it is, I think, the most important piece here. And I applaud you for that. Thank you.
Mr. Weshkowiak, did you yield the rest of your time, sir?
I will yield, yes. Thank you.
Mr. Weshkowiak.
Yeah, I just want to kind of reemphasize the point that you made in the last discussion, Mayor, about Mark's leadership in the street department. I think because of his leadership and tutelage, it's made this position even more possible and workable. Yeah, I think we all know that Scott loves the city and will do anything that he can for the city, and I know that he'll do anything that he can to make sure that he fulfills the job responsibilities that will be thrust upon him with the role of Public Works Director. And I yield.
I do agree. Scott is amazing. He is a hard worker. He doesn't just work for the city. He has a heart for the city. You call him 2:00 in the morning, he's out there doing trees. He's cleaning up debris. We had a water pipe, and a citizen contacted him last weekend. They didn't contact the water department. They called Scott, and he was out there, even though his wife was sick in the hospital. He is a hard worker, and I know that he and Mr. Latham have an absolutely very, very tight bond, and they work well together. Anyway, I yield the rest of my time. Ms. Wagner, do you want to go a second round?
Thank you. What else can I say? Let's vote.
Mr. Gray,
Yes.
do you want to yield your
I
time?
yield my time.
Mr. Montez,
No comment, thank you.
second round. Mr. Artemani,
I yield.
Mr. Burris,
I yield my time, thank you.
Mr. Wishkoyak,
Yield.
roll call.
Tim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
I abstain.
Danny,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Craig.
Yes.
Okay, emergency clause. I'm looking for a motion.
Motion approved.
Roll call.
Craig,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Danny,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and Tim.
Yes.
Moving on to H, a discussion and approval of an ordinance clarifying governance of the Tontitown Historical Museum. Mr. Wagner. I'm sorry, Mr.
Yeah, I think our attorney needs to read it.
I was getting ready to say that. Yes, sir. Mr. Farrar, would you mind?
Be happy to. This is an ordinance repealing and replacing Tontitown Municipal Code Section 3102 concerning the governance and administration of the Tontitown Historical Museum, establishing the museum as an operating unit of the city, defining the authority of the Museum Board of Trustees, clarifying the employment status and supervision of museum personnel, repealing conflicting provisions, declaring an emergency, and for other purposes. Again, council, you have an emergency clause.
Mr. Wagner.
Okay, folks, the purpose of this is to explain the need to clarify the legal and administrative structure of our museum and to describe how proposed ordinances would address this uncertainty found in cities' existing museum ordinances, charters, bylaws, personal practices, and organization structure. This proposed ordinance is not intended to diminish the historical importance of the museum or eliminate meaningful citizen participation or prevent the museum board from influencing the preservation and interpretation of Tontitown's Italian heritage. Its purpose is to establish a lawful and workable division of responsibility between the city council, the mayor, and the city administration, paid museum personnel, and appointed citizens museum board. The basic concept is similar to the long-standing structure used by the city of Springdale for the Shiloh Museum of History. That museum operates as a department of the municipal government. Its personnel functions as city employees, and an appointed board of trustees provides museum-related governance oversight and community participation. The Tontitown Museum Commission was created by municipal ordinance. Unlike a municipal waterworks or water and sewer commission, it does not derive board independent authority from comprehensive state statutory framework. The city's attorney preliminary opinion confirms that the Museum Commission is a municipal body whose authority is defined primarily by the Tontitown Municipal Code. The attorney also found that no separate nonprofit corporation or other business entity registered for the Tontitown Museum Commission or Tontitown Historical Museum. That opinion also explains that the current codified provisions grant the commission substantial powers, including language authorizing to employ personnel, receive property and donations, promulgate rules, adopt bylaws, and execute a budget. However, the city's actual employment and financial practices do not clearly correspond with this purported independence. Museum employees presently are paid by the city payroll system, receive city payroll benefits, occupy positions funded from municipal appropriations, and are otherwise administered through the city personnel system. These practical circumstances strongly support the conclusion that museum personnel function as municipal employees, regardless of language suggesting otherwise. The problem is therefore whether the city may operate a museum or appoint a board to assist with it. The problem is that the present code does not clearly identify which body is responsible for ordinary duties of an employer or a municipal administrator. The current code does not adequately answer several basic personnel management questions. Who hires the city employees? For example, I'm looking at a email dated 11/4/25. Emily, I assume that's their current curator. If I recall, I do not do an evaluation of you last year since you're under the museum board and they have their own HR department. I spoke with Mark Latham and we agreed that your evaluation should be done by that board. To go further, who may discipline or terminate these employees? Who assigns their daily work? Who conducts performance evaluation? Who approves leave and timesheets? Who certifies payroll? Who approves compensation? Who determines the city personnel policies? Who resolves disagreements between employees and the museum commission? Who is responsible for the museum's annual budgets and expenditures? Who may accept donations and bind the city? The city attorney specifically identified these unresolved matters in his preliminary opinion. The ambiguity is not merely theoretical. The museum commissioners reportedly expressed concern about being expected as unelected volunteers to conduct performance reviews, sign time sheets, perform routine managerial fishing, including involving city-paid employees. According to the attorney, commissions were willing to assist the museum, but recognized that managing municipal personnel by committee was more than reasonably expected to undertake. That concern is understandable. A voluntary museum board can provide valuable historical knowledge, continuity, policy guidance, community participation without being day-to-day human resources department for a municipal's employees. I've got 7 pages to explain why this needs to be done, but I'll keep it brief by saying the proposed ordinance renames the Museum Commission as the Tontitown Museum Board of Trustees. Remember, that's the same structure that Shiloh's used for years since 1968 with the city of Springdale. The change of title is intended to distinguish the board from statutory commissions that possess independent powers under Arkansas law. The ordinance expressly provides that all paid museum personnel are employees and not employees of the city and not employees of the board. They would be subject to the same general applicable to other city employees, including hiring procedures, payrolls, benefits, workers' compensation, personnel policies, and such. This provision would bring the ordinance into conformity with the city's existing practices of paying the benefits of museum employees through the municipal system. The proposed ordinance does not eliminate the board's substantial role. The board would continue to provide assistance and leadership concerning historical preservation, collections, accessions, and deaccessions, exhibits, interpreted, and other long-range planning and community partnerships. The board could also participate in the selection of a director or curator who has requested, as requested by the mayor. The museum director, curator, and principal museum employees would report administratively to the mayor or to a department head designated through the city's approved organization structure, which we just passed an ordinance which has defined that. The council would contain control over public funds. The museum budget would remain part of the city's municipal budget. The board could review the proposed budget, identify needs, recommendations, and such. Purchases, contracts, grants, donations, all would be established through the city procedures. This ordinance recognizes that the permanent museum collection requires specialized treatment. The board would recommend a formal collection management policy addressing accessions, cataloging, and such. The city council would also approve the collection policies. Museums' objections could not be sold, transferred, or destroyed. This preserves professional historical guidelines and safeguards which maintain municipal accountability for property owed by the public. The board's bylaws would require council approval. The present charter and bylaws cannot be independently enlarge the board's governmental authority. The proposed ordinance therefore authorizes the board to prepare bylaws, but requires legal review by the attorney of the city and approval by the city council. Workload and staffing. The proposed ordinance also requires an annual work plan and performance report. The provision is particularly important because museum staffing should not be evaluated solely by visitor counts. Museum employees may perform substantial work that's not visible. At the same time, the council should have objective information demonstrating how much work exists and what staffing is reasonably necessary. The earlier staffing analysis memorandum noted that the museum reportedly operates from approximately 1,500 square foot building. It staffed approximately 1.5 full-time employee positions and reports 20 to 40 visitors during a typical month. It recognizes the visitor counts no longer measure the preservation and importance of behind-the-scenes duties. The proposed ordinance would require annual reporting of operating hours, visiting hours, and such. The information would protect both the taxpayers and the museum personnel, while the workload justifies existing staffing levels. Okay, benefits, clear legal authority, proper personnel management and administration, protection of the voluntary board members, preservation of historical expertise, financial accountability, protection of the museum collections, better budget decisions, and consistency with a proven regional concept. This general structure would resemble, again, the Shiloh Museum, which operated since 1968. Some matters that the attorney review brings up: the appropriate code sections to amend, repeal, and replace, whether the department divisions are done, and in conclusion, the present museum government structure reflects genuine uncertainty rather than misconduct by any employee or volunteer commissioners. The Museum Commission attempted to operate under ordinances, a charter, and bylaws that did not clearly reconcile ordinance delegated commission authority, the museum's administrative responsibility, the council's budget authority, and the council's personnel system, and the status of city paid employees. This proposed ordinance provides a practical resolution. Preliminary legal sources cited were the preliminary legal opinions and records of the Ozark Historical Museum. With that introduction, I would pray for a positive vote to settle what has seemed to be a most confused issue once and for all.
Taking a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Who's second?
I'll take the second.
Danny.
Unless Wagner wants it.
Go ahead.
Roll call. Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
think he's waiting.
Discussion. Lord, I thought that was a discussion. Discussion. Mr. Wagner.
I think, Mayor, I have kind of wore myself out, so I'll defer to the next person. I yield.
Thank you, sir. Me too. Ms. Graves.
I yield my time.
Mr. Montez.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would just like to start out my discussion time by thanking Mr. Wagner for bringing this up for discussion, because I do believe that we've had a couple instances like the hail damage and the roof repair that we had. I remember that being brought forth to us, and we were a little puzzled to why that was coming to us if they've got their own independent board that makes those decisions, and why the city had to get involved with, approving those repairs to be done to that building. And so I think this helps declare those guidelines to where we know how this is to be managed. I do have questions on it that were kind of answered in your proposal, your introduction to this amendment. For example, what the powers of the new Board of Trustees would be responsible for. So I thank you for answering those. It kind of also opened up questions for me amongst another entity that we have here in the city, which is the Community Foundation Board that we have. That I think it's a 501c3. So I don't know if these funds and those funds are one and the same, or whether these are separate separate funds that, one's dedicated to expansions of the museum here in the future, and those 501c3 are for other city purposes. I kind of want to have some discussion on that and some clarity on that, whether that's to come into this ordinance and we need to look at adding some of that language in here, or if maybe that's something for another ordinance at a later time, because that just, is a murky area as well as we go forward and look at these ordinances that we've got. So I look forward to more discussion on this and hopefully get some insight on that, and I yield my time.
Mr. Artemani.
At present, I'm going to yield.
Hey, Mr. Burris.
Thank you. I am really thankful that we have an opportunity to talk about it. This has been one of those things that's always been a head scratcher for me. Back a year maybe ago, I tried to get an opportunity for us to sit down with the museum folks and figure something out, and nothing's ever paid. So this is great. Again, it's defining, and I appreciate that definition. I understand you've read a lot this evening, but I am going to ask for some more input potentially. So there are just some things that I want to be aware of. First and foremost, I'm looking at a blue line, not a red line. But we are voting on this tonight, correct?
Right.
But it's still a little out of sorts. So I'd like to get it a little more in sorts, if that's a thing, and just get some questions. So I understand at the bottom of page 2, it says the board shall meet at least quarterly and may adopt a regular meeting schedule. I believe they meet monthly now, which is probably what they'll continue to do. But there was right above that in blue, how members could be removed, and one of those was missing 3 meetings in a row. And I just thought 3 meetings in a row for a quarterly meeting, that's probably a lot, considering there's 4 meetings in a year. So if we tighten that up in one way or the other, I'm fine with that, either by just, I don't know what, but I think 3 in a row for quarterly is a little maybe off-putting. Board membership, right above that, section 4, the board shall consist of, and it has a blank members. I think right now that's 12.
I believe that might be right.
Yeah.
Is that right?
We have a dozen. Up to 15? Okay. So do we want to say up to 15, or do we want to put a distinct number on that? Do you guys have a?
I defer to the attorney on that.
Okay.
I would just say something like no less than, and
Okay.
then whatever the number you want.
So no, but you guys have been.
More than?
No more than.
You've had as few as what, 6 or 8? I think even before you came on.
More than 15 is pretty good.
I would think so. Okay. Do you think 12 is okay? Or is it not enough?
Not more than 15, maybe?
Not more than 15?
Okay. I'm totally amenable to that. That's fine. Are you okay with that, Counselor?
Yes.
Okay. And then members shall serve staggered terms of, what do you guys currently serve? It's 3. Okay, so there'd be staggered terms of 3. I don't see any reason to change that, but I'm open to input. And then on page 5, I just had a question. It discusses on page 5 how we, from time to time, the museum will get donations and that sort of thing. And it basically spells out that, for the most part, whatever those things are, if they're, quote unquote, owned by the museum, they're technically owned by the city. I think that makes sense. But every now and then we're going to have a borrowed item. And what protections do we have in place? And maybe we need to do it outside of this document. But what protections do we have in place if we borrow grandma's armoire and it gets damaged?
Yeah, you would put a contractual, agreement in place on that.
Could we call our friendly neighborhood?
You would call me, and then we would
attorney?
draft
Okay,
something. Yeah.
Fantastic. And that's a one-off when that happens, on an ad hoc basis?
Mr. Burris, as I understand, again, the way Shiloh handles it, they got more or less a chain of custody, like Aunt Pearl comes in and says,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you these group of photographs or my old cooking pot or whatever, but you have a document when it comes in that this is owned by her, on loan from. It's the same process that the Museum of Agriculture in Stuttgart, which I visited last week, have got this. You know, they've got these big old iron wheel tractors, but, you know, some are owned by the museum and a lot of them are owned by the members or the community members that let them set out there and for the public to view.
Good, okay. And then Angie Albright, who's the director at Shiloh, I have asked her numerous questions. She has been really, really helpful. And I think it's great that we're using that as a model. So again, thank you for all that. I will yield my 6 seconds. I've done that twice today. Yeah.
Mr. Wishkowiak.
Thank you, Mayor. If I can ask Mr. Farrar's input on this maybe a little bit, does number 8 under section 18, existing contracts, grants, loans, donor agreements, and other lawful obligations shall remain in effect according to their terms? I guess that's doesn't address the new donations, but would that be applicable could we make it applicable to new donations as well?
Well, moving forward, new donations are going to be properly given to the city and not in this confusing
Okay.
commission-based
All right.
structure, so we wouldn't need to do that.
That'll take care of that for me. Thank you very much. And I want to thank you too. As we're all aware, this is a very complex issue, and I can't tell you how many times I've read through the emails and your opinions on this. Had a lot of things highlighted that you brought out that I think have been addressed, so I don't want to beat a dead horse. I think there was a lot of consternation from people who first heard about this, that there was going to be an effort to shut down the museum. That's nothing's further from the truth than that. This is, I think, an effort to strengthen the museum's position. As for Mr. Montez's point about the finances, I think that is an extremely complex issue that I think is separate from this particular ordinance and will have to be addressed at a later time because it is going to take some time. It is very, very complex. So we want to leave that one alone for sure and just focus on making the museum a part of the city. And I think if we go back to, I think it was Frank who said, who addressed the city and came up with the idea of making it an arm of the city. And that's a little, and I think the city did its best to make the museum an arm of the city. But I think, yeah, so I think this just makes that arm stronger. And I think there are a lot of good things. You know, I didn't know when I came in here tonight if we were going to get a lot of people speaking in opposition to this ordinance or not, but hopefully they read it and are comfortable with it. I'm pretty comfortable with it, and I think those of you at the museum who have are comfortable with it as well. And I will yield the rest of my time.
All right, so I wanted to answer a couple of your questions. The museum does meet the first Monday of each month, so they meet each month. Also, the Community Foundation is completely separate from the museum. The funds do not intertwine. Just to let you know that. All right, yield my time. Mr. Wagner, do you have anything else?
One thing I'd like to emphasize for you board members out there, there was some fake news that I in some way intended to harm or diminish the importance of the museum, which is a patented lie. As a matter of fact, the city's finances, which are being under review by the retained accountants we've got, I think there is a, quote, restricted account, although it may just be words, not any formal action ever been taken. However, I think it needs to be very hyphenated, exclamation point, underlined, that those funds should be earmarked in some fashion as our attorney, and whether that's giving it to a third-party custodial like Arkansas Community Foundation, and let them administrate it for specific identified terms that the board would be greatly improved, or if we have to simply work out some kind of agreement that the council puts a ordinance, resolution, or whatever it takes, whatever our attorney tells me it takes, that those funds, and I think there's somewhere around $290,000 on the books right now. You know, if the museum feels like they need maybe a building to put some old farm equipment that's in Henry Paz's shed right now and put it on city property, hey, give us a shopping list. And when we run out of $290,000, then we got to figure out how to get some more. But again, I wanted that really clearly underlined. I yield my time.
Mr. Graves,
Yield my time.
Mr. Fontes, Mr. Armani,
Nah, I don't have anything. I yield.
Mr. Burris,
I yield.
and Mr. Washkowiak.
Yield.
Roll call.
Larry,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Danny,
Yes.
Mick,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Do we have an order?
Emergency clause?
Yes.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Craig,
Yes.
Mick,
Yes.
Danny,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and Tim.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to I, discussion and approval of a resolution authorizing tree removal on South Barrington. Mr. Wagner.
Scott asked me to bring this forward because there's a project underway where they have to remove some abandoned water lines that Washington Water had in our right-of-way that require tree removal for sloping of the both. I provided, because I got them late myself, but there's 3 bids that Scott has obtained, ranging from $32,850 down to $20,865. All bidders have submitted their work, their insurance documentations. And as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, Counselor, that we would need to pass this, not necessarily on anything other than maybe a condition that the contract in flesh would have to be approved by the city attorney. On the other hand, it seems logical that you would take the lowest bidder unless you have some reasonable assurance that they're unreliable or untrustworthy or otherwise. I can't speak to any of them. The bids are from one. The highest bid for $32,850 is for Trees Inscapes from Bentonville. The second one is from Monster Tree Service from Bentonville. And the third one is Prairie Grove Tree Service from Prairie Grove. So I know nothing about any of them. If any of y'all know anything about them, I'm just here to present it so we could get action taken so they could get started on the project.
Okay, I'm seeking a motion.
I'll make a motion to move it on.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion. Mr. Wagner.
I have none other than it seems logical to me that the lowest bid would be the one accepted, but again, I defer if anybody's got any other terms. I just tried to facilitate this for Scott because it does need prompt action. I yield.
Mr. Graves.
Usually I know some of these companies, but I don't know any of these 3. But it seems like the 40 trees for the lowest bidder makes sense. I yield.
Mr. Montez.
Thank you. I see certificate of liability insurance for, I think, Trees and Scapes, and then we've got one for Monster. Do we have one for Prairie Grove?
Yes, it came in late, but
Okay.
but I emailed it just for the meeting, so you've got that in your email.
Okay.
Look.
So I mean, I would look at that to make sure, should they drop that on something, that they've got insurance to help cover the expense of that.
And
With that being said, I mean, yeah, I guess you're looking at making sure you're comparing apples to apples and then going for lowest price, obviously.
If I may, Mayor, I'm not sure if my motion needs to be amended, but I certainly intended to make it to where this would be action taken only after our attorney has reviewed the contract to his liking.
All right. Mr. Montez, did you have anything else?
No, ma'am, I yield the rest of my time.
Mr. Armani?
I don't have anything, I don't believe.
Mr. Burris?
I yield.
Yeah, just a couple questions, especially for that last comment Councilman Wagner just said. So are you looking for us to vote on this tonight and then only take action after it's been reviewed?
We would vote on it conditioned on the fact that the contract meets the criteria that our attorney says it needs to be, because this is what's holding up a much needed drainage project while we're where we need to move on with it. But
right,
that's no other reason than that.
Yeah, and I understand that. The good news, I guess, is that it's dry. The bad news, of course, is that it's dry. And when it rains, we're going to have some trouble there. So you'd mentioned earlier in that email that you sent to the council, and I appreciate that, that there were, these aren't exactly apples to apples comparisons. So there's a $32,850 bid. There's a $20,865 bid. And then I don't remember the other one off the top of my head. It was right, it seems like it was right around the same price. Sorry?
25.2.
25, there it is, 25,200. So of the three, Prairie Grove, at least on the face, seems to be the least expensive. I do appreciate that we have three. I reached out and I have not heard back, but once I saw this, I reached out to a company that I know has a tree business here in Tontitown. Again, I haven't heard back from them, but I have no idea what's a good price, what's a bad price, especially when they're all different. So how to line them up a little bit so that we know that the $20,865 total is significantly similar to those other two.
Well, according to Scott, which I spoke to before the meeting, all looked at the same areas. Some of them took pictures. The one from Prairie Grove didn't, but he put his paragraph of what he's deciding in there. I think the attorney, if Scott is uncomfortable with this, then everybody needs to be uncomfortable with it. But between Scott and the attorney, I think Scott showed them all and personally what they were to do, and they know what they were supposed to do. So I think from the standpoint of apples to apples, the only thing I first was afraid of is I didn't have the insurance, but I got that and provided it to you right before the meeting. So I think as best as one could be, it's like anything else, you got contracts and you stipulate how much verbose language you need in it, but that's why we got the guy on my left here to do. And between him and Scott, and I think I put my position or my motion in a position now that those are predicates that we will be assured. We have a city engineer sitting there nodding, and if you disagree with anything I say, get up here and talk. Thank you.
I just a moment, please. I think we need to stay in order. I know that Maddie's getting a little confused with the time. So if you would just do your 5 minutes, move on to the next one, and then you can answer the question when it comes back to your time. Mr. Burris, you had 2 minutes left.
No, I'm fine. I will yield the other time. That's fine. And I don't mind people answering in real time, but I do understand sometimes it will eat into my 5 minutes, and most of the time I'm going to be just fine with that. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Wojciechowski.
Thank you, Mayor. One whereas clause needs to be stricken from this third one up from the bottom. I don't think it has anything to do with the resolution for tree removal. Whereas the draft permit proposes to change waste management. I think we need to get rid of that. Second thing, if we're voting on a contingency basis, should we list our first, second, and third choices just in case first choice doesn't fulfill the contractual obligations that we're looking for? We then move to number two without having to come back and do this again. Okay. I'll yield.
All right, Mr. Wagner. I have nothing, so Mr. Wagner.
I have nothing more.
Mr. Graves?
Nothing to add.
Montez?
Who's the initial motion on this?
I was.
So if there's any amendments that need made, you would have to amend it. Okay.
Well, that's the reason I amended my original motion. You seconded
No
it,
more
so I guess
comments.
maybe you got a
Okay,
second.
Mr.
my amended
Artemani?
motion.
I have nothing.
Mr. Burris?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Mr. Westkowiak?
The only thing I guess I'd ask is, do we need to amend to list a ranking system for this resolution, or is that just going to be, Mr. Farrar, you okay with it if we just choose one? I mean,
Well, you guys need to give me some direction. So you need to tell me what your priority is and what your choice is so I can draft accordingly.
If we choose and by priority or by order of preference, I guess, then you can act from there and Scott can act from there without having to come back here and do this again, should something fall through. So I think it's prudent to do that, right?
Yeah, you're passing contingent upon my legal review and giving the mayor the administrative ability to sign the contract, right? We do this all the time.
I'm sorry.
But
Go right ahead.
No,
This-
did you want to yield your time or you have something else?
I think I still have time, right?
Yes, you do.
Okay. This resolution will have to be amended because it specifically states it's for monster tree service.
Well,
So we're
going to redraft it subsequent to this meeting, right? You're not gonna have to get back and vote on it. We can orally make a resolution and pass one, and then I'll reduce it to writing later.
That's what I'm trying to avoid.
Got it.
Thank you. Yield.
Mr. Wagner, I did have a question. Did Mr. Scott Artemani have a preference?
No, I mean, he didn't have any preference. He saw bids and got 3 bids and wants to move on. So I don't
Okay.
think he has any personal opinions on any of them. They were all solicited by him, and he provided them with no particular preference for any derived to me or provided to me.
Okay, did you want to change your motion with the amended language in there?
Yeah, whatever the language that we finally decided, I thought it said was conditioned on the attorney's review, and if we need anything else other than that, it's a low bid but it's up to him, and then it's also got the escalator clause or whatever that if for whatever reason the low bid don't work, go ahead and talk.
I think the missing piece is that you guys haven't identified priority. Do you want to vote to identify priority based on the price? So that if something falls through with the first one, you go to the second cheapest? You guys just need to articulate that, vote on it, and then I'll figure it out with my words and my computer. But you guys got to flesh this out.
You make the motion. for me,
Madam Mayor.
Can't make a motion.
Madam Mayor,
Oh, I know we need to remove Southern Brothers. I know that's one thing.
Well, let's disregard this resolution. It's going to be completely rewritten.
Okay,
You guys articulate what you wanted to say.
okay. May I speak, Madam Mayor?
Mr. Burris.
Thank you. Okay, so here's one of those areas of confusion, and by the way, I get where you're coming from. I'm going to have a hard time voting on anything unless and until we know exactly what we're voting on. So Prairie Grove says we're going to remove trees 2 foot past the crest of the hill. 2 trees, a tree, I don't know how many trees. I'm not trying to be problematic, I just want to understand. Treedscape says removing approximately 55 trees along the ridge line, leaving the stumps approximately 2 feet high. Okay, 55 trees. And then Monster says 40 trees. So, I mean, my math's pretty good. There's a 15 tree difference between 55 trees and 40 trees. And then I understand when we say approximate, is that approximately 2, 3, 5, 10? I don't know. So the price becomes very different. A Maserati doesn't cost as much as a Yugo in repairs, but it cost a whole lot more to get it in the first place. So what I'd rather do is know that we're buying the exact thing that we want right out of the gate, instead of saying, oh, we're going to get the guy that charges us the least amount, but oh, we were just talking about those couple of trees there right past that crest of the hill. You want the other ones? Well, that's going to cost us more money. So even if we say not to exceed a certain price point, that could be problematic when we're not comparing apples to cheeseburgers. Thank you. I yield.
Yes, sir, Mr. Graves.
If we're going to look apples to apples on this, there's only one I'm here that has a certified arborist on here. Shows it and talks about a traffic control plan. So the other two companies, we don't know if they're expecting us to come out there traffic plan, because that's going to need major blockage for many hours. So if I was picking one, it would be certified arborist that talk about traffic plan. That's trees and scapes.
Trees and scapes. Okay, does anyone have an issue with that? Trees and scapes
Well, they happen to be the most expensive one on
on the list.
on board. But again, if we're going to look at it and appropriately try to identify, I think at the end of the day, it's going to cost money, and $10,000 is nothing to sneeze at. $12,000, $13,000. So I think we need to take that into consideration. But I mean, there are, if we've got our guys standing out there, there's a cost per hour for that as well.
True.
If I may use some of your time, maybe a simpler solution would be draw up, and in this case, Scott didn't indicate he gave any scope of services or otherwise. The attorney can easily get with Scott, draw those up, send them back to these three people and say, okay, now this is what we want your number on. Is this good? And if they still say, that's my bid, then it's simple. But if not, we got a new low one. I mean, that simplifies everything, looks to me like, and a scope of services outlined. But Scott, again, was trying to rush this to get it to this hearing. We got one in 2 weeks, so I don't care. Don't shoot the messenger. I just brought it because I.
Well, yeah, I certainly don't want to shoot the messenger.
I do know that this is very important. It needs to get done as quickly as possible. He's been working on this for quite a while.
Can I have my last minute and a half there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks. So if the 2 weeks isn't an issue, I would rather wait until we get what we need and then vote on the thing that we know that we're getting. I was under the impression, and it's my fault, my problem, that we needed it right away. If we can wait, then it might make sense, but I think that's an excellent idea to have a scope of service and go from that particular point.
Hey, anyone else?
I would have to table my motion to do that, and I'm willing to move on with the deal that we've got, and in 2 weeks we'd have an answer, so we may be talking about it again 2 weeks anyway, but I don't know. I say leave the motion as it stands and vote and let them flop.
Okay, roll call. And this is to accept the motion as is.
Mike,
No.
Tim,
No.
Larry,
No.
Danny,
No.
Mick,
Have no problem. Looks like we'll talk about it in 2 weeks.
is that a no?
Is that a no, sir?
Craig,
No.
Okay, moving on. Discussion and appointment of standing committee officers as outlined in ordinance number 2026-07-1316. Mr. Wagner.
I don't have that ordinance in front of me, but as I recall, there were 6. There we go. I thought I had that somewhere. But anyway, I think it was this the, what'd you say the number? It's the one I've got is blank. What was the number?
2026-07-1316.
So on the 7/21, I think it was, meeting, we voted to establish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 standing committees. And in that ordinance, it said the effective date for these committees were January 2nd or January 1st of next year. However, some things that have come about One is a budget committee. Certainly, I don't think we want to wait to January to form a budget committee, when in fact, we should probably start talking about the first cut on budgets next month even, or certainly by the 1st of October. Water and Sewer Committee, same story, different one. We have a timeline with Waste Management in the progression of their pre-treatment proposal. That will be in October. So if we wait to January, that's a bit late because we don't have a committee, and that's the structure that I think a great discussion was. These standing committees were ad hoc, meaning they're not regular. However, here's identifiable 2 pressing needs, and more importantly, tonight we talked about a museum board that probably wants to talk to in a committee establishment. So I don't know how y'all want to proceed. I just thought I would bring this up because the ordinance is clear. You got to have a chairman and a vice chair. Either one can call a meeting ad hoc. I've gave you illustrations of meetings I think need to occur before the first of the year. But the way our ordinance says, there's no existing committee. So I don't know, Counselor, how we need to move forward on this, or if that needs to be done 2 weeks from now. I just thought I'd bring it up because of these items that I knew was going to be discussed tonight, and the finance and the other items that we talked about. Doesn't matter. Have you got some advice, Counselor, you can tell us?
I mean, I would prefer that the city council.
Okay,
direct
this is
some
just a
policy.
discussion, and I'm sorry, Mr. Farrar.
No, go ahead.
I had
You can
asked
call on me.
Mr. Farrar, I asked for him to give guidance on how to proceed, because that was my last statement, however y'all want to proceed. And I figured the person that might be most qualified to tell us how to proceed would be the city attorney.
You are exactly right, and Mr. Montez was asking me a question, so I would miss that
Yeah,
Okay.
okay,
information.
all right.
Attorney Farrar, would you mind?
Well, I think you have some wiggle room. I don't know that there's a clear legal answer here. The ordinance that was passed says that this goes live next January, but we found a need to make it go live sooner. So, I mean, guys, I don't know. I don't really know what to say. This isn't a legal question. If you want, we can amend the ordinance or pass a new ordinance to make it go live sooner.
I mean,
So we will, sorry, can I ask?
Go ahead.
ask a
That's all I got.
question? Can we go ahead and put it on the next council meeting and go ahead and get it amended at that time? Well, that we don't have it right now.
that's not been.
We can't do this by council, just voice vote?
I don't know what I'm being asked. I'm sorry.
This ordinance that's on the screen right now, it's
Right.
been adopted, correct?
Yes.
Maddie, if you would scroll back up, it says under that section 1, creation of standing committees effective September 1st. So there's no, it's.
Okay, the one I have said January, so
Right, well, this one
maybe
looks-
this is Mock's niece.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that we amended that amendment when that was
At the
passed.
time, I
yeah.
think
It
we
was
did.
Okay.
to
Yeah, all right.
take effect for September.
Moving
For this
right
very
along
reason.
now.
So I think what the next step is there's those A through F committees
Yeah.
that we need to elect chairman and vice chair, and then, those standing committees can then add the ad hoc. I think you describe those as ad hoc positions where we can fill those committees with the members of the community and experts and stuff. So with that being said, I mean, how we go about creating those, if everybody wants to pick their favorite two and be the chair.
You
of
go
those.
ahead, and I'll
Well,
second your.
I did think about this, as I know September's around the corner, and so I do have a picture of the ones that I've highlighted on my phone from that I took a screenshot. And the two that I'd be interested in being the chair on would be public safety and then the government operations and personnel. Vice chair, I could be vice chair to
I make a motion
any
that
of
you're
the
chairman
others.
of both of them.
But other than just me, this is a
Kim,
group
where you
effort
going?
at
I
this
think
point,
this is kind
so-
of getting a little crazy here.
Yeah.
I think what we should do is you guys like he had suggested, go ahead and choose the two that you want and have it ready and prepared at the next meeting.
Agreed.
Okay, so is it all right to go ahead and move on?
So you should probably pick the two you want to be the chair of and vice chair of. That way you've got 4 options, and then you can hash it out with whoever picks the same.
My question is, do I need to do that for the 4
You're
months
still-
remaining,
You'll
or?
still be
Yeah.
here, so yeah, I would say you'd have to be doing,
Make,
you'd have to participate.
if this is open discussion, Mayor,
Apparently it is.
what would be wrong with every person at the next meeting coming forward and they've got names that they rank names on here, and it's kind of like y'all selected the city attorney where the high score, low score, whatever is the chairman and second, and do that. I don't know if that's too convoluted, but it sounds like that's what you did last time, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I think something like that is a great idea. I'm sorry to cut in, but I think we should probably do it before then. So it's not all that difficult to get that, and we can send them to the mayor or whomever we deem appropriate there, and perhaps the clerk or Maddie, and we get that on the agenda. and we go
Maddie's
from
got
there.
a lot on her plate.
Let's do it in the meetings.
Okay, need something done, give it to a busy woman, right?
If you need something done real quickly, give it to the latest person you know, because they'll find out the easiest way to get it done too.
That's a fair point.
All right,
That's
so.
Well, I mean, the next meeting is when?
2 weeks,
2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks, which is what date?
September 1st.
September 1st.
We'd be compliant with our ordinance if we do it on. next
True.
meeting.
That's true. Okay. So my understanding is everybody's going to choose the 2 that they want to do, or the 4 that they want to do. And I guess we'll just discuss it at the next meeting.
So we're gonna do the ranking thing?
We are.
I guess.
Okay.
Okay, do the ranking thing.
I
Moving
think it's a
on.
little different than that. I think I choose my 5 peers as who would be best to chair and who would be best to vice chair, and everybody does the same thing, and you take a scoring index, and that's there. Because the good thing about these standing committees, yeah, you got 2 people that can call meetings, but any one of the 6 or all of us, because these are all going to be recorded meetings, because 2 or more implicit with FOI would have to be done. So everybody, this is what a standing committee is supposed to be. If 6 of you want to show up and participate, fine. Bring your facts, your numbers, and come on, boys, girls, whatever.
No rules.
May I have a comment about that?
Why not?
Mr.
Everybody else-
Wishko,
Since we're doing a free-for-all, it seems like on this subject. If I get picked for committees that I don't want to be on,
That wasn't what I just said.
well, that's kind of what you just said.
What
'Cause
you
you
just said.
said you're going to rank your peers on what you think they would be best at.
I'm gonna name
I
you
want
chairman
to
for all of them,
choose.
Mike, just so you know.
I want to be able to choose which ones I want to be.
Okay.
It don't work that way. It don't work that way. Your peers get to elect you.
Come on.
Anyway, I digress, and I apologize for the interruption. We got business to carry on. We
Absolutely.
got
3
next
more.
meeting.
Okay. Now let me know what you're going to do. Are you going to be scoring it, or are you going to be sending me
I'll
names?
tell you what
Are
I'm
you
going to do. I'm going to bring in the ones that I want to be on. I'm not going to try to appoint anybody else to something that they may not want to be on. I will rank in order the ones that I prefer to be on, and ones that I would be willing to chair.
I think that is awesome.
So that's what
That's
I
what we
intend
should
to
do. Yes.
I guess
you
each
should
person
choose the
can do
ones you
his own
want.
thing.
Okay.
You
Well, everybody
should
heard
choose
my
the one
choices.
you interest you.
So
All right,
stay
let's
away.
move on. Let's move
Please.
on. Go to K, a discussion and approval of a resolution accepting the low bid for the construction of the police department. I know Chief Jennison has been waiting for this one all night.
All right. Well,
Mr. Wagner.
this is a little simpler because there was proper RFQ sent out with scope of services, yada, 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 and it has been reviewed by the, I guess he's an architect, Mr. Timothy Maddox. And the low bid seems to have been provided by Southern Brothers Construction for $4,968,715. This has been certified as a valid bid, and I would make a motion that we accept the lowest bid, unless you need to read the title of this one.
All right, motion, do I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, sir. Discussion, Mr. Wagner,
I have none.
Mr. Graves,
I have none.
Mr. Montez.
I do have a little bit of discussion on this, as we do know that Southern Brothers is currently contracted to do the community development or the community building over here. Do we have any apprehension to them taking on both projects? And is that a sufficient reason to pick another bid? And I don't know if that's
No, we've
a
had,
question for attorney or
Well, you have to take a low bid.
you have to take.
you have to take a little bit.
Is that true, Mr. Farrar?
That's correct. In
Okay.
this process, you do, yes.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Mr. Artemani,
I yield.
Mr. Burris.
Yeah, I had a question about value engineering. Has value engineering been worked into this yet? Do we know?
I don't know. The engineer,
Hamilton? Yeah, could you answer that for us?
he's there.
He's still waiting.
And he has been here all night. I apologize, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, it's been worse. This has been a relatively easy night.
And I was prepared. I'll just go through some of my notes I had. Again, the bids were opened in this room Tuesday, August 4th at 10:30. Just to give a little history on the budgeting for the project, we had one budget at the end of schematic design. It was well over budget. We knew that. That was the pie in the sky. We started working to reduce that. And then we had a 50% construction documents budget, and it came in at 6.3. So the short is, yes, our budget range was between 5.3 and 5.4, or 5.3 and 5.5. We received 10 total bids, which was really good. That's always good to have that. Southern Brothers was a low bidder. And the confidence in the bids, the lowest 5 bidders were between 4.96 and 5.09, which is a spread of about $130,000, which is really tight, which gives us confidence in at least the validity of the lower bids. It also means they all might have caught what I did or didn't do well in the drawings, but it is what it is there. And so, yeah, the value engineering happened during the project. Y'all had approved an additional service for me to hire a cost estimator as part of the services. We did 2 cost estimates provided by Baldwin and Shell, and that was worked into the design process to get us to that budget or lower, which we did.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Burris, do you have anything else?
No, I think this is pretty cut and dried then.
Do you yield your time?
I will yield my remaining time, yes.
Okay,
ma'am.
Mr. Wojtkowiak.
No comments, I'll yield.
Okay, let's start over. Mr. Wagner, do you have
No comments.
Mr. Graves?
I yield.
Mr. Montez?
No, I don't have any other than I'm excited to get this ball rolling.
Mr. Artemani?
I yield.
Mr. Burris?
I yield, thank you.
Mr. Wojtkowiak?
Yield.
Hey, roll call.
Craig,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Danny,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
passes.
Okay, we're going to L, a discussion and approval of an ordinance establishing the position of accounting clerk, sponsored by Mr. Wagner.
This ordinance was primarily brought about by the fact of some time back, the council had appointed or had provided Ms. Artemani as a clerk treasurer with a direct report vis-a-vis a clerk. And there was job documentation floating around that said that Mr. Penalto, who held that position, must have a finance degree, which certainly he doesn't have, as a matter of fact. And this accompanying adoption of the job description in section 2 clears that all up and puts it belt and suspenders and belts on it. That's I would ask that we vote favorably on this so we can move on.
Okay, need a motion.
Make the motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion, Mr. Wagner.
Basically what I've just said, Mayor, I think it's necessary, and the attorney says we need to look at a job description that adequately and accurately describes what this job does. So with that, I yield.
Mr. Graves,
I yield my time.
Mr. Montez.
No, I would just say that I agree. I think this is a needed structural, organizational piece of legislation, and I approve of it.
Mi- oh,
I yield, yes, ma'am.
Mr. Artemani?
I have nothing. I yield.
Okay, Ms. Burris.
I yield my time, thank you.
Mr. Wishkowiak.
I yield.
All right, go a second turn. Ms. Wagner?
Well, I would like to point out as an oversight for item 9N being the establishment of a position of the Water and Sewer Director. That's a title slightly different than what was approved in June, where we had a Water and Sewer Department Manager. So perhaps,
What, Mr. Wagner, we're talking.
I thought we was on 9M. I thought we done voted on the other.
No, we
okay.
have not. We
All right.
are on the
I
county
guess-
clerk. Do
I
you,
guess my beer thermometer is causing my memory to be.
do you yield your second time?
No, I don't have a thing to say.
All right, Mr. Graves,
Nothing. I yield.
Mr. Montez,
No comment.
Mr. Artemani,
I yield.
Mr. Burris,
No, ma'am, thank you.
Mr. Wishkowiak.
Thank you. I yield.
Okay, now I would like to say something. Do my second 5 times. Okay, or 5 minutes. The accounting clerk position is a full-time role and should be classified as a department head and salaried position, as its responsibilities are comparable in scope and importance of those to Human Resource Department. The position requires daily oversight of the city's financial operations and consists of availability during normal working hours. In contrast, the clerk treasurer position is a part-time role and does not require regular presence in the office during daily operations. Mr. Penalto currently serves in this position and brings exceptional value to the city with more than 40 years of banking experience and 11 years managing the city's accounts. He possesses an extensive understanding of municipal operations. Mr. Penalto's knowledge and expertise extend far beyond finance. In addition to overseeing the city's accounts, he assists with insurance administration, vacation, leaving track financial analysis, planning, permitting, grants, administration, bonding, financing, information technology. He is amazing at IT. His experience and institutional knowledge makes him an invaluable asset to the city. Mr. Penalto is proficient in virtually every aspect of city government and is often a resource for multiple departments when questions arise. His dedication, versatility, and willingness to step in wherever needed have contributed significantly to the city's success. The city benefits greatly from his experience, and his contributions should be recognized and appreciated accordingly. Okay, roll call.
Larry,
Yes.
Mike, Tim,
Yes.
Danny,
Yes.
Mick,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay, moving on to M, a discussion and approval of an ordinance establishing the position of Water and Sewer Director. Mr. Wagner.
I can read it real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine. An ordinance establishing the position of Water and Sewer Director within the city government, adopting a job description for the position attached as Exhibit A and for other purposes.
Okay, if I may. It says the establishment of the position. Technically, this position has been created 2 months ago. What was not provided at that time was a job description, which Mr. Farrar helped craft here with his experience in personnel matters. I brought this forward for those primary reasons and hope for a favorable vote.
Okay, need a motion and a second.
All motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, discussion, Mr. Wagner.
None other than previous stated. Yield.
Mr. Graves.
None.
Mr. Montez.
No comment.
Mr. Artemani.
I have nothing.
Mr. Burris.
I have no comment.
Mr. Wishkowiak.
I am satisfied with the work of Mr. Farrar and Mr. Wagner on this ordinance.
Do I
and-
need to go through this again?
No.
Okay.
Please.
I yield the rest.
Okay, roll call. Mr. Wishkoyak, were you yielding your rest of your time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, roll call, please.
Craig,
Yes.
Mick,
Yes.
Danny,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tim.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, closing comments. Mr. Wagner.
I don't work on overtime, so let's go home.
Mr. Graves.
No comments.
Mr. Montez.
I want to thank everybody for coming out here tonight. It was a long one. Some subjects that were near and dear to everybody's heart were come out here, up for discussion. And I hope that, at least for myself, I can only speak for myself, that I weigh everything and look at everything from every angle I can look at before, casting a vote. And I think sometimes I sit here and maybe do a dramatic pause here, but it's because I'm a little torn between, I can see both sides of everything. So just know I'm trying my best, and thank you for putting your trust in me. Have a good night.
Mr. Artemani.
It was a long meeting. I hope the people that are still here came to the Grape Festival, enjoyed the chicken and spaghetti. If not, you really missed out. Mike slopped it out really well on Thursday, and I did on Friday.
And Saturday.
And Saturday for Mike, yeah. There was a lot of stuff here tonight, and I think Danny just pauses for effect. I really don't think he's pausing to contemplate anything. That I yield my time.
Okay, Mr. Burris.
Thank you so much. I did go to the Grape Festival. I did get grape ice cream. It was wonderful. I hope you all took my advice and tried it for yourself. Right at about 8:35, I got a text from a citizen who said they were driving by the dump and that the dump was really, really stinky tonight. So if you're driving by the dump, be aware of that. And if you have concerns about Waste Management's landfill, please come to the St. Joseph's Hall next Tuesday, a week from tonight at 6 o'clock to have the opportunity for public comment with ADEQ. Thank you.
Mr. Wishkoyak.
Hey, yeah, thanks to the real troopers for coming and staying with us. And also, you're looking at the council for next year. Everybody who's up here was unopposed. Somebody,
Mr.
well,
Artemani will not.
Mr. Artemani, I'm sorry.
I will not.
We resigned, and Mayor Russell, you chose not to run. That's, I understand that. I'll address those later. It's just somebody asked me, said, well, you think that's because you're doing a good job or because nobody wants a job? I said, I think it's the latter.
I do
So, it's we're but I'm glad to be a part of this again. We'll do the best we can. We do listen. We do have disagreements with one another up here, but I think we've been very respectful of one another, even in our disagreements for the most part. So thanks again for sticking with us, and see you in 2 weeks.
I just have a couple of things. Want to let everybody know Bocce Ball Tournament is September the 12th. Please sign up. It's really a fun day to go out there and play bocce ball. I just watch and I enjoy it. Also, I'm really sad that the air permit did not pass, because it is extremely frustrating whenever you go on before ADQ again and again and again. I have 2 state representatives that are fighting like crazy for us, and I know this is going to make them pretty sad that it's going to, you're going to support another 5-year air contract, but hey, that council, who voted. And it's up to you. It's up to the citizens to go out and speak. Next Tuesday night, across the street, August 25th at 6 o'clock, St. Joseph Church Hall. Because this is something that is affecting the citizens. It is something that is critical. And a lot of people don't understand that it's not just leachate. It's not just the vapors. It's because of the way that it affects your body and your system and your family and your friends that's all around there. And I just hope that you do go out and speak your mind and vote on that. And thank you all. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.